compulsory pit stop will be having to be taken by every car in this race. Look at them stacked and racked around the corner, underway from the staggered grid, and it's a great start from our pole man. Harley Haber picks up the lead. Jordan Cox is off and rolling quickly, and Ash Sutton will push Garth Tander back to 4th place. Now, turn 1's one thing, turn 2's another. They surely cannot all get through, though they won't. Jordan Cox sideways, Haber's nearly off the road, and it's the GRM driver who manages to pick it all back up.
We continue on now up over the bridge for the first time in race number 1. Harley Haber being chased down by Garth Tander. Brett Holdsworth in 3rd.
Nick Carroll's next, so the 2 Trans Am drivers are in the mix. Then it's Dylan O'Keefe. And have a look here at the gap. That is the margin. Haber to Tander. You'd think that was a video from the VHS days, the way seeing those cars come up and onto the pit straight at Oran Park. Here's the fight between Randall and Ransley, 8th and 9th. Ransley's got a series to worry about, but he needs some points. He needs to get a move here on Thomas Randall. Down at turn 2, he's going to stick it up the inside. He's up on the curb and he has to back out of it. He decided to have a crack and halfway through thought there's not enough here to go on with it.
So Jordan Cox just holds on to 5th place from Ash Sutton down into turn 1. Very taily. Sutton looks to the inside into turn 2, covered off by Jordan Cox. Who was that just went out to the side? That was Jaden Ransley, I believe. Nick Carroll has just run off at turn 1 on the exit as he made his way towards turn 2. And if we go back now with Jordan Cox still under fire, he's up into 4th place at the moment with Ash Sutton right behind him.
And that's Carroll trying to pick it up again and get the momentum going, but Ransley's right on stake from the Trans Am youngster. Tander in 2nd spot. Total replay here. Brett Holdsworth in the TPS group car, who's been running a solid 3rd and has been mega impressive all night in this 7th round of the series. Oh, bumps the fence and hits the pit lane entry.
Oh,
Brett drama.
Brett the Jet.
8 drivers now yet to pit.
I'd be interested to know if Harley Haber's run virtual spotter out there as well, looking for a hole to drop him into as he does his pit stop.
He comes out of pit exit, clear road in front. Oh, that's tight. No. I reckon is that Tom Alexander, who he's done the over and under on to get back in front. Now he's gone cold tyres. It's going to be a question here of getting himself up to pace, getting himself sorted out. In fact, that's Rowan Shepherd, the track tech driver who is one of the wild cards here tonight.
He spotted it perfectly, Harley Haber. He's got a good bit of track in front of him. They've done a great job, and it nearly came unstuck with that move onto him, but I think he's going to hold out here.
So the question now is the rejoin. You can see there, that was Tander just leaving the lane as comes on down. Have a look at this. This is tight. Got him, and he's not the only one. There's a bit of traffic to contend with. Tander has some contact. Jordan Cox gets into the side in the GRM car. There's Golding. He's in the mix. That early stop has vaulted him up the order. And now it's still the chase for Haber. He's still in the box seat here. Lap car moving out of the way and letting our front runners get on with things here. So Golding's strategy of pitting earlier has really, really worked out. That's Delberto right behind. Caruso and Delberto had some contact in the last round at Phillip Island, although Delberto's just spun Shepherd in the background and giving you some margin, and there's another one spun. A couple of free spots.
That's that. That's what racing's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, you only need 25 more of them.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we started 40th, so slowly getting back there.
So Harley Haber, 8.3 seconds up the road. Less than 5 minutes remaining in this race. Ash Sutton, Garth Tander, Jordan Cox. And Jordo looking very likely to just get well and truly up onto the rear bumper of Garth Tander.
Sinclair did a good job there. The car sales car moved right off the road to the point where he was on the grass, and that also allowed Golding to get on through. So good job there from Mike Sinclair to get out of the way as they fight for this position. Haber's home just about 8.3 seconds to Sutton. The margin back here to Tander and Cox. This is the fight for 3rd place. Golding behind in 5th. Ransley, Randall, Alexander, O'Keefe and Martin. That's the top 10. This guy is position 1 in series and in race. The Kumo tyre, number 21, Harley Haber, the form man of the car sales ARG eSport Cup, is going to get the business done in race 1, round 7 of the series at Oran Park. Crosses the line with a handy margin, 8.7 seconds back to Ash Sutton, the Panther Fuel 116 is home in 2nd. On pole position, our star driver, Josh Files, the reigning TCR Europe champ, 45 cars, 20 minutes. Oran Park. What could possibly go wrong? Underway in the second race of round 7, and it's Files who'll lead us down to turn 1, although he won't quite close off the gap as they fire on in. The reverse 20 fast cars in the middle of the pack get set for drama at turn 1 and 2.
And we've got carnage in the background and a couple of cars straightened up in front, and we've got plenty around. That is half the field been taken out already.
Tander's up to 9th. He's made the big moves as we reel off this first lap at Oran Park. Have a look at this. How tight is it? As down to the inside, Will Brown tries to work a move on Chelsea Angelo. The rear of that Audi's already copped a punch in the boot. They're fighting for 5th and 6th spot. Brown will grab the spot. That's 5th. Up in front, that was Fraser. Off the road, out through the dirt. There he goes. He's out of the running. He was in the lead. He jumps back on the road, but he has cost himself plenty of time. Manif is the new race leader. From Files, Johnson, Will Brown's going like a blur.
Stevie J, we ride on board with looking back at Will Brown, Chelsea Angelo just behind him, and George Medicki monstering the back of her entry as well. That's the dog leg. And unsettled.
That was Files. Wide. Oh, he's come back on the road and made contact with Brown. Off the road goes car 1. He'll get going again. There's Tander. He's gone through. Ransley goes through as well. We'll get a total replay and unfold and unpackage what happened there, but I think it was a case of Files dropping off the road, coming back on and making some contact with Will Brown, who ends up off the road. He's back to 10th, virtually where he started from.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Will Brown was looking very good early on in the race and taken out by Files. Let's have a look at the total replay.
Look, I don't think it was a totally deliberate scenario. Files here just made a mistake at the dog leg, dropped off the road on the exit. There's Brown. He's got him covered and passed. He's come back on and he's hit him. That'll be a penalty, no doubt about it. I can't see how he gets away with that one. Total replay here, Cameron. And we're having a look here. Jason Bargwana, Ben McMillan, turn 2. Ben's on the grass there and carted Barg's a little bit wide. And it opens the door for Harley Haber, the points leader, to pick up a free 2 positions. He's now 13th as McMillan jams it back down the inside at the next turn, makes a little bit of contact as well.
It's a perfect example, though, looking at Harley Haber still back there in 13th. We know his speed over one lap, just how strong he is, as we'll catch up with George Medicki very shortly because he's sitting up in the top 5 at the moment.
There's the end of the replay. McMillan sideways off the bridge, and that opened the door for Haber. Cars going everywhere. There's a few spots to be made here. Oh no, drama. Johnson and Medicki get together. Oh, Medicki gets away with it. You get going.
Yeah, mate. I had my hands full for a second there. If I'm honest, but no, I was worried actually when I knew you guys were looking at me. I've got the worst race face ever. I look like I'm having a stroke. So, I was sort of half expecting it. When I know you're looking at me, I can put a bit of concentration into it. But
there's chaos behind you, mate. Garth Tander's been bumped off the road and is driving the wrong way down the road. And I'm hearing word of a star driver next week that will be joining the series for the night, who, can't say who, but he's a young gun with experience in TCR, Supercars and Carrera Cup. Could be just about anybody. There's plenty of guys who've done those categories over the years. Wilmington makes a mistake, got in a bit too deep down there at the final turn. Here's Lachlan Manif in the 114 car. We haven't seen much of him at all. He got through that opening drama in the first few corners, came out in front, and will bring it on home. Lachlan Manif is the winner. Race 2, round 7 of the Car Sales ARG eSport Cup at Oran Park. Josh Files, our star driver, is home in 2nd spot. Angelo, hang on a second. What's happened here? She was on target for 3rd and has limped to the line. Hey, let's have a chat to her now. Chelsea, what happened? We caught the tail end of you there across the line in 5th. What happened to the 3rd?
Yeah, so I was passing a lap car coming into the last couple of quarters, and then coming into the very last corner, I fuel surged. I ran out of fuel, hence why I ended up 5th.
Before we go, let's recap the results in race 2, round 7 of the series. Manif the winner, 3.6 seconds clear of our star driver, the Englishman Josh Files. Jaden Ransley 3rd, Harley Haber 4th. They are 1-2 in the series. They finished in the opposite order in this one. Chelsea Angelo, the poor thing, was going to be 3rd, still got a 5th. James Golding has had a solid night. He's 6th. Will Brown fought his way back from that drama early in 7th. Then Medicki, Fraser and Tony D'Alberto rounds out the top 10.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Whitley, and we're here at the very first TCR driver signing session. So let's go talk to some of the drivers and some of the fans. Your jacket game here at Kelly Racing is really good. Can I have one?
Oh,
Who have I got to talk to?
I think there's a guy called Todd that runs the show. Seems to be kicking around.
They're like a prize possession, so you've got to do something good to get one. So that's why Bryce doesn't have one, because he hasn't done anything good yet. So.
To be fair though, I think Andre's the only one in shorts. So
Jacket game's strong, but not packed.
I'm loving the beanie, Tony. Can you get me one?
I don't know if you come and drive a Honda for sure. I'm actually not really a beanie man, but it's so cold here this weekend that I need to get my little ears nice and toasty.
And we've just got Chris who's run away here, but what did you have for breakfast, Chris? What's the champion breakfast of the TCR driver?
Breakfast. To be honest, I can't give away all my trade secrets of this.
Hey guys, how you going? What do you think of TCR?
Oh, love it. Love it.
great.
It's really, really good. It's a lot better, I think, than the V8s. It's not a freight train, but yeah, it's good fun to come.
And what do you think of having our signing session here this morning?
Yeah, it's great to actually meet them and talk to them. We were talking to Russell Ingall, so we were.
So I've been asked to do a bit of street talk with the drivers, but I'm not very good at it, and I've heard you're the expert. Have you got any pointers?
No, and no. First pointer, don't ask difficult questions. Second pointer, don't ask difficult questions. And third pointer, don't ask difficult questions.
All right, I'll try my best. So I heard a little rumour that something got put in your dinner last night. Will Brown must have given the chef a few pointers or paid him on the side. How are you feeling today?
Well, obviously wasn't good enough because I feel fine at the moment. So unless it's going to kick in about sort of a couple of hours. But yeah, he did mention that he sort of been into the kitchen at the restaurant we're at and sort of gave him a few tips.
Pretty sneaky young Will. We've got the championship leader here, Will Brown. Tell us all about it, Will, and have you got any pointers for me?
Yeah, I don't know about pointers. I don't even know what I do out there. So no, it's been a good start to the year, and TCR Australia are doing a great job. It's great to have you guys out from New Zealand, the various, with all the different drivers in the category. So having fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, I do live in New Zealand, but I am from Toowoomba, so there must be something in the water up there.
Yeah, I remember watching you race go-karts back in the day. I used to take out the guys and never take any shit. So no, it's pretty cool that now we're racing together. So both from Toowoomba, and there's some fairly talented people that come from up there.
Yeah, that's for sure. How you going this morning, Leanne?
I'm good, thanks, Alex. You're sounding a bit too much like a Kiwi for my liking.
Oh, well, that's all right. We'll go kick it out of me over the next few rounds. We've got Lexi here this morning getting some fans' autographs. So who have you got on your poster there?
Brady.
Just Jason Bright. So we better help you find a few more. And how have you liked TCR so far?
Good.
Yeah, pretty good. Good racing?
Yeah.
And you like the girls out there in the class?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. Awesome. Yep. So we found a few more fans here this morning. What do you guys think of TCR?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, relevant. Yeah, yeah, it's good.
Awesome. And what have you got as a daily driver?
I-30N, no other.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to drive the I-30N.
And who's your favourite driver in the series?
Oh, it's got to be Brown and Walkham between them. Yeah.
So big Hyundai fans. We're going to have to get some jackets for you. So we've got Nathan here. There's plenty of fans out here at the signing session. What are your thoughts?
Oh, there really is, and there's a Melbourne club and from down here out here supporting us this weekend. Loving all their cars out there on the skid pan on display, and just can't wait to have a crack this afternoon, starting from P4, so it should be good.
Official TCR photographer, have you got some favourite photos or some favourite drivers that you like to take pictures of?
Yes, I do actually. Favourite photos probably this weekend would have been yourself yesterday, going through that smoke screen with Tony behind you. How was that in terms of like driving through it? Was it pretty tough? Like, could you see where you were going?
Yeah, as you come up to it, you're like not too sure if someone's gone off or what's in front of me, but you just hold your speed and get through. And in the middle, you kind of go a bit blind, but you come out the other side pretty quick. Hey Jordan, you had a bit of a tough day yesterday, but have you got any pointers for me for this morning's race?
As Danny Rickard says, just lick the stamp and send it. So.
Paul Gover from carsales. What's your take on TCR?
Well, the big surprise is how good it is. I have heard lots of promises about lots of things over lots of years in motorsport, as you can imagine. Also heard a few excuses over the years. But no, it's kicked off well, it's moving on. And the best thing about TCR, there are smiling people in the pit and paddock.
Look, it's fantastic, and I think the racing product that we saw on Saturday at Phillip Island, I mean, that was just
it was a fantastic motor race. There's no two ways about it. So the categories brought something different to the Australian motorsport landscape. There was a lot of question marks about where it was going to fit in and what role it would play in our motorsporting landscape, but I think it has fit in somewhere. It's provided a place for a lot of very good professional race car drivers.
At Oran Park, we're ready to go. 25 minutes on the clock. Compulsory pit stop will be having to be taken by every...
Paul Gover from Car Sales, what's your take on TCR?
Well, the big surprise is how good it is. I have heard lots of promises about lots of things over lots of years in motorsport, as you can imagine. Also heard a few excuses over the years. But no, it's kicked off well, it's moving on. And the best thing about TCR, there are smiling people in the pit and paddock.
Look, it's fantastic, and I think the racing product that we saw on Saturday at Phillip Island, I mean, that was just... It was a fantastic motor race. There's no two ways about it. So the categories brought something different to the Australian motorsport landscape. There was a lot of question marks about where it was going to fit in and what role it would play in our motorsporting landscape, but I think it has fit in somewhere. It's provided a place for a lot of very good professional race car drivers to come and ply their trade, and we've seen some great racing already.
There's a real buzz in the paddock. The racing's really close and entertaining. I think that's what people want, really, is that there's a bit of contact, there's a bit of argy-bargy, there's a bit of entertainment, there's overtaking. On Saturday we had someone go from second to last to second. It's quite unpredictable, and I think that's what really appeals at the moment, is that the racing, you just don't know who's going to win.
I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. The variety of cars, the closeness of the cars, and the racing itself. Where we've seen that in Sydney, particularly on Sunday with the two back-to-back races. Doesn't give you a lot of time to do stuff in between, and then they get out there and go for it.
I enjoy the variety of manufacturers involved or brands involved, and also like the fact that it is an affordable formula and it's giving a lot of guys a chance to show their wares. Like, who on outside of a very small group would have heard of Dylan O'Keefe before a few weeks ago, and he's making a lot of people sit up and take notice. So at the moment, I'm pretty positive.
Close, hard, competitive wheel-to-wheel racing. I think the sport's been crying out for that, especially in a sprint racing format in Australia lately. Love the mix of cars. I think the variety's terrific. And the diverse group of drivers that the series got in its first couple of rounds has been outstanding.
You know, it's given a lot of young guys an opportunity to show their wares in front of a crowd and, you know, in front of an audience where, you know, they haven't previously done. You know, Dylan O'Keefe and also Jimmy Vernon, as well as, you know, many others. And, you know, I think it's got a bright future in Australian motorsport.
It's made a great start. The number of cars right off the bat is very impressive. The second round of the series, and we're into the high teens, probably in the low 20s for the next round. Racing's been good. There's already been some standout performances from some of the drivers. There's an eclectic bunch of people in different stages of their careers. So far, everything's impressive.
Does it fit into the Australian motorsport landscape?
It does, but not in the way that a lot of people think it is. I mean, some people will say that this is going to take over from supercars, and it's not. It's not going to take over from a Carrera Cup, and it's not going to be a challenge to any of the established series. It's going to be something else. It's going to be its own niche, and it's going to be a place where people who've got a lot of experience can come and build their own teams, or someone who's 21 or 22 years old might be looking to make a career here in Australia and maybe segue to overseas.
I think it's got a niche, and it could be a really broad niche as well. And as we've seen with GT racing, the ability to bring in other brands that can't get involved in other categories, I think that's a strength. And even if they're not in with big works teams or manufacturer involvement, just having them in the sport's better for everybody. Great for the series as well.
And does it have a space in the busy Australian motorsport landscape?
Oh, for sure, most definitely, particularly on the back of the announcement of going to New Zealand under the one management group. That's just fantastic for the sport. And the fact that it's separate from our other elitist category, I'd love to see it stay that way. We don't want to see it all merge into one. We need that alternative rather than a rival.
Yeah, I think it does. You're right, it's difficult to know. There's always going to be some conjecture about where it fits with supercars, but I think this is definitely a platform for juniors. You can use this as a stepping stone to go to all sorts of touring car racing. You could even jump from karts into these. So I definitely think it's got a place. So let's hope it continues.
We have something very exciting for you here at the Bend. It is the Renault Race-Off, and today we have James Moffat. Winner in Supercars, podium finisher in TCR, winner in Carrera Cup, V8 Utes, Formula Ford and Lotus Trophy, and all-round nice guy. We're going to put him behind the wheel of the Renault Megane Trophy R. It's a road car, not a race car. Sound good?
Not bad.
We've got the Renault Megane TCR racing car. The racing driver will not drive the racing car. This bloke will drive the racing car. Cameron Vandernungen, man who sells mattresses, improved production wannabe racing star, and sometimes pit lane reporter. Today, the challenge is the Ben Motorsport Park. The challenge is for Cameron in the TCR car to go faster than Moth in the road car. We're going to give Cameron 5 seconds in terms of the head start. So the benchmark time that you're all chasing is 2 minute 20 that the road car is capable of. We'll let him have 5 seconds. If he can beat 2 minutes 25 in the TCR racing car, he wins. This cannot happen. This cannot happen. There is no way he's allowed to win. Gentlemen, to your cars. It's time for the Renault Rumble at the Ben Motorsport Park.
Bought it. Whoop.
This is a battle of the ages. The Renault Rumble. Vandernungen, he can't keep the car on the road. Moffat's putting the pressure on. He's off the road again. He's going to get him. He's going to get him. Come on, Moff. Stick it in there. So, the way that it finished, gentlemen, is that Cameron in the TCR race car crossed the line first. But we heard and we saw that there was a spin along the way.
There wasn't one.
And under...
Not just one. No.
Okay, there was 2.
No, it was 2.5? Yeah.
So under that basis, it's a 5-second penalty for every spin, therefore it's 12.5-second penalty. Moff's the winner! Yes! Back to pit lane, mate.
So this week I'll be joining the ARG eSport Cup. It's going to be really cool and interesting to race against some of these guys. I've seen a lot of the racing over the last few weeks and it looks like a lot of good fun. So also the combination of the F3 car, which I've driven once before, and Silverstone I think is going to be a good mix. It will be very fast there, high action, a bit of aero, a bit of drafting, so it should be really good and I can't wait to get stuck and do it and see how we go.
Braden Wilmington, welcome to S5000. You've had a test, you've had a race meeting under your belt. Your impressions of S5000 now?
They are unbelievable. Like, honestly, these are the coolest cars I've ever driven. They compare pretty much, they're similar but different to a sprint car, which is what I'm used to. But yeah, they've got similarities, but they've got ridiculous differences. They're both very high commitment cars, but these things are amazing.
So what's made you get into S5000 considering all of your junior racing was on the dirt going around in circles?
Well, my goal has always been like IndyCar sort of ways. I really would love to go and run the Indy 500. I've just always thought that Speedway would be a pathway to that, being oval stuff. There's guys like Tony Stewart, Ed Carpenter, Brian Clausen come through that way, and that's the way I was trying to make it. And I've always loved all of these open wheeler. Like, I saw Formula 5000s back at the Australian Grand Prix in 2011, and I fell in love with those cars there. And these things are the modern version of it, and they're really cool.
So you've competed at the Bend for the final round, and I understand the commitment is to try and do as much of the 2020 season as possible.
Yeah, look, we're trying to run the full championship next year. We just got to find some marketing partners and some sponsors to help do that, and we really want to be on the grid for 2020, and we really want to run every round.
It's great to see the Wilmington name back in top line Australian motorsport. Your father Gary was a long time touring car privateer. Yeah, tell us about your thoughts about your dad's racing.
Yeah, no, he was a legend in what he did with what he had to do it with. Like, I don't think anyone has come close to running 21 Bathursts as a privateer, and did it all off their own back. And it is a really good achievement for what he did. And I just I'm sort of following in his path now. He's a lot happier now that I'm racing on the asphalt rather than dirt, but he still loves Speedway. And again, these are unlike anything he's ever done before, so it's still another big learning curve for the both of us.
Hi everybody, welcome along to Phillip Island. Normally this is about penguins and seals and surfing, but today it's all about speed. The carsales TCR Australia Series arrives for round 2 of season 2019 at the famous Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. We're getting set for the first of 3 races so far this weekend. It's a battle of the brands, the Hyundai and Alpha, 2 young guns, 2 21-year-olds on the front row of the grid. Away we go for the run to turn 1 in race 1 at Phillip Island. But look at Alberto, that Honda has made ground round the outside. He could be second by turn 2.
And Heimgartner making a big move as well back there in that 777 as O'Keefe covers up any attack down to turn number 1. Brown is awkward. He's awkward through turn 1. He's off the circuit.
Will Brown out off through the scenery. This is huge in the championship. Tander around the outside, contact in the mid-corner, and GT is off the road. It was he and Jason Bright. On the restart, Tander made serious ground. There he goes, that's serious ground in the Audi. He's not clear of the Volkswagen on turn-in, and there's a bit of a rub and a touch between the 2 most experienced drivers in the field here this weekend. And Jason Bright put together a deal. He went and got 2 cars out of the Asian TCR series and is proving you don't need a brand new one to get a Mugget, and he gets a Mugget into the side of the Subaru. Jimmy Vernon has contact as well. He's off the road. Moffat avoids drama at Phillip Island. On board with Bright. This will tell more of the story. Oh, boy.
Straightened him out, but then Vernon came round in front of him, and James Moffat was lucky not to be in this incident as well. So we look at it again, this time from Andre Heimgartner's perspective at Southern Loop.
And you can hear he's got the throttle nailed, because front-wheel drive car, when you're in a slide, and he's got his hands off the wheel saying, what are you doing, Jason Bright? Side by side with the Honda and the Renault, and the Audi will fill the gap. Watch for the Hyundai too. Will Brown on the fight-back trail. He must think he's having his 21st birthday all over again. They've gifted him spots and got him back in the race, back in the title fight.
And Will Brown will be sniffing the podium here right now. There's more happening down here. They're 3 wide.
Contact.
Into turn 4. And this time Alberto squeezed. Tander goes wide in the Audi. And you watch Will Brown here.
Will Brown in the mix. He's made another spot. And while these guys fight and carve one another up, go too wide through Siberia, Dylan O'Keefe is laughing at them. He's looking in the rearview mirror and extending the margin.
And now pushing, James Moffat pulls out for the pass down at the hairpin here at turn 4.
I thought Moffat was going to cover that off more, but he knows if he can hang around the outside, he's safe because he's on the inside for Siberia. That's what he's done. Plenty of experience from James Moffat. Hangs Will Brown out in the dirty stuff, and it brings Dalberto back in the game. This has been a yo-yo race. Now Brown's down the inside at Siberia. It'll be side by side. He gives Moffat some room to play with. Side by side, the hay shed, 200 plus kilometres an hour. Which car do you want to be in right now?
Well, if you stay with Brown, he's going to try and hold this. He'll have the better line. Past the hay shed, they climb to Lukey Heights. On this, the final lap, Brown gets the job done, but he's under siege here at the drop. Into the hairpin, he needs to cover it off. He's done it. Parks it down the middle of the road here.
Checkered flag's out. It's a win for the 21-year-old from Melbourne. It's a win for Alfa Romeo and Ash Seawood Motorsport. Dylan O'Keefe, great job. To the line, second place will be Will Brown. So he got back to where he started. Unbelievable. Can Will Brown get the jump on the pole man? It's pretty even from the front row of the grid. Turn 2, Will Brown. Right with him out off the track. James Moffat with a big lose. Heimgartner goes with him. The Subaru's having no luck. On board with Andre. And there was the push from behind. And that leaves the fight for third between Tony Dalberto and Hamish Ribberitz in the Audi.
Yeah, Hamish Ribberitz, quiet yesterday, but sat up there inside the top 5. Another car going off. That's Cameron.
Both
Tander's in there.
Leanne and Gartha off the track. Aaron Cameron is as well. Going for the move. For a spot on the podium. Will Brown, change of the lead. Down at turn 1. That's wild.
Just got that car pulled up. I thought he was gone for all money. There's a yellow flag still being waved. There's debris all over the course. Wow.
Brown to the lead in the Hyundai. Ribberitz is third. Oh no, Brown off the road, down at turn 4. He's got it wide. He's got it back on the road. Change for the lead back to Dylan O'Keefe. Here's the leaders, Dylan O'Keefe, Will Brown. Impressive stuff from Hamish Ribberitz. John Martin next, Dalberto under fire. That's Chris Pither. In the GRM, Icebreak Coffee, Renault Megane getting a spot. Alex Rouleau muscling the Astra down the inside. On Nathan Morecambe, that is for position 7. So the young West Aussie moving his way forward. Great to have 4 females in the field here in TCR Australia this weekend. James Moffat with a big look at Alexandra Whitley, the Kiwi-based Aussie. Bad news. Tony Dalberto, the Honda Civic Type R, is limping so slowly. And have a look at that right front. That's the reason why. Oh, problems. That's John Martin. That's the other Honda. That's the second of the Wall Racing Run Civic Type Rs. And you know what? He's got a right front puncture too. Alex Rouleau's really keeping the pressure on here. Feels like he's been around for years. That's why. The reason why is because he started at 14 in Super 3. Gets a move done. Talk about class. This guy's in a class of his own. They're going to need to put a tow strap on this car to hook up behind him in race 3. Dylan O'Keefe, checkered flag, 2 in a row. Alfa Romeo win again in the car sales TCR Australia Series. Ash Seawood's on the wall to welcome home his driver. Great job. The margin in the end is handy too. 6.2 seconds back to Will Brown. Alfa Romeo versus Hyundai. Watch for the Audi on row 2 of Hamish Ribberitz. Away they go. It's pretty even again between the top 2. Ribberitz has made a nice jump. They all fly down to turn 1. Dalberto's on the grass in the background. The Honda Civic's making moves already. Watch out for Will Brown. He's not afraid to go round the outside. That puts him on the inside, Matt, for the next turn. Can he get the Hyundai to the lead? No! Off the road, Dylan O'Keefe, the winner of 2 races. Oh, there's more cars off the road. Both the Hondas. John Martin's involved. Alexandra Whitley's involved. High drama, massive chaos. First corner, last race, Dalberto's got damage. It's a disaster. John Martin's Honda, forget it. It's stuffed. The rear of it's been absolutely demolished. He arrived on the scene after the accident and ploughed on in.
Here's how it looked. Here's the replay. Turn number 1 by the ANCAP safety car. O'Keefe losing it, going into turn number 1. And watch for the Hondas to come through the shot here.
So O'Keefe picks himself up. He thinks, okay, I'll get it going again. Oh. Boom! In the right-hand side. Watch your head. Hondas are side by side. Dalberto loses the rear. Martin, I'm not sure they make contact. I think Martin was out wide by himself. Whitley was on the scene too. There goes.
There's 2 more cars that went off as well.
Oh boy. Heimgartner and Tander touching again. on board with Garth Tander, he would have seen more. He started a bit further back in the pack. We're following Heimgartner. There's Whitley, the blue bumper of the Volkswagen. It's just a little bit of checking up. I think that's really what's at the core of it all. Tander got past them all. That was 5 spots, 1 deal. There's Hamish Riveretts off the road. Tander is facing the grass.
It was huge. Down to turn 4. Let's get some green flag racing under our belts here in the final race of the carsales TCR Australia Series. Jimmy Vernon on the outside. That's Chris Pether. And there's Garth Tander. We didn't think we'd see this car make the restart for race number 3. He's now inside the top 10 in 7th position.
Rouleau hanging on, Cameron probing. Heimgartner here trying to make ground. He's the yo-yo of TCR. This is for the podium. Cameron down the inside, the young gun gets it done. So all these young drivers are in the mix today. That's for 3rd place. Cameron's through. Jimmy Vernon now throws the challenge. The Alpha's powerful in a straight line, and he's got margin. He's almost overlapped Alex Rouleau and is clear towards turn 1. Side by side, this is good stuff.
From the exit of the final turn. Oh no, Vernon's off. Gets the pace sign on the inside. Careful on the re-entry down here. Just misses everybody. And I mean by millimetres.
We jump on board here. This was the Jimmy Vernon off from on board the number 7 Gary Rogers Motorsport Alpha.
That was so close.
Hyundais have got clear. The rest of them are fighting for the podium. Garth Tander, 1 off for him this weekend. He's making it count. We didn't think this car was going to be in the race after the accident in the last race. They patched it up, literally. Have a look at the right front of the blue Audi. Now it's the Renault boys getting into it. Pither and Moffat, side by side from Siberia. I don't know where to look. I keep tripping over my words because the racing's been top notch. Teammates, side by side, flat strap, on the run to the hay shed. Heimgartner's in the mix too. Hamish Riveretts, the black Audi, he's trying to fight back. He was off the road on the first lap as well. He finished on the podium in the last race. That's the thing we've seen all weekend. Just when you think you're out of it, you're not out of it.
No. Now Tander on the outside of Rouleau. They bump wheels.
Moffat's
And look at
through
Moff.
wide, got them both. The Renault picks up 2 spots. There's a bumper dragging off one of the clubs. Not anymore, it's gone. Tander hangs on. Heimgartner's in the mix. It's over and under. This is really good, hard racing. Tander's fighting against Alex Rouleau. Rouleau's fighting against everybody else. Heimgartner's taking them all on, trying to go around the outside of the hay shed. Wild stuff. 2 by 2, and they're all rowed up, deciding who to go with, who's going to get the spot, and who are you going to follow through to grab another one.
We all dream of these kind of races, but rarely do you see them. We've had 3 of them this weekend. As now another change of position here. Tander going down the inside of Moffat. At the turn 4 hairpin.
And that's for 4th.
Leanne Tander down the inside of Alex Rouleau to put the West Aussie teenager back down into 11th position. He was 4th a few moments ago.
He was
He's
third
not giving up.
before
He was
that.
3rd, yeah.
I had him half penciled in for the podium. And we're now on the run home. The final lap of the final race. Chris Pither, Jason Bright, Hamish Riveretts fighting here for 7th, 8th and 9th. And this race has just started to settle down. We've had a weekend full of action at Phillip Island as these teams and drivers continue to learn the nuances of their front-wheel drive TCR cars. It's going to be a 1-2 finish for the Hyundai i30Ns. Will Brown to the line, gets the job done in the final race at Phillip Island, and very nearly a form finish. Nathan Morecambe home in 2nd spot. Aaron Cameron rounds out the podium in position 3 in the Volkswagen Golf GTI. Hi everybody, welcome along to round 8 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. I'm Aaron Noonan. Michael Caruso is going to be behind the wheel tonight, but he's taken the time to come and have a chat Hey mate, I'm hearing big things tonight. You have had a couple of weeks. It's been a tough run for you, but I'm hearing that the Sim's had a tune-up. Has the driver, are you good to go tonight?
I'm feeling confident tonight. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm going to win, because that might be a long shot, but no, a bit of a tune-up on the Sim, and yeah, quietly confident, but definitely more comfortable in the Sim than I have been.
Now, comfort's very important no matter whether you're driving the Sim or the real race car, and as you can see tonight, you have brought the footwear. That means you are very, very comfortable for tonight. You've got the shoes,
prepared.
but have you got the moves?
Mate, preparation is key to success. So I'm ready to go, and I'm looking forward to it because it's going to be exciting tonight. There's no doubt about it.
Tonight we are going to Silverstone. It is Formula 3 cars. It is the 8th round of our 10-round car sales ARG eSport Cup. So open wheelers at the home of the British Grand Prix. Looking forward to racing tonight. And we've got a pretty good title mix going on. It's really tight in the championship points at the front. Harley Haber leads the way, 388, 10 clear now of Jaden Ransley, but a point penalty for Harley Haber since the last round. We'll cover that off very shortly. Dylan O'Keefe sits third from Ash Sutton. Nathan Hearn had a shocker last week at Oran Park in the Audi touring cars. Jordan Cox is in the mix, Garth Tanner's nearby, James Golding, Tim Brook and Nick Carroll round out the top 10 in the points with 3 rounds left to go. Our star driver tonight, Robbo, is Andre Heimgartner, driver normally of the Ned Mustang, but tonight he's behind the wheel of the Ned Dallara Formula 3 car, and he's got one weekend in his life experience in Formula 3 for real, but he's been doing a lot of virtual sim racing lately. So how do you expect that he'll go?
Yeah, look, I'm expecting big things from him. I mean, he's pretty handy. We've seen him driving in the supercars one. Obviously, he raced last night, so yeah, he'll do a good job. He's just tuned up his sim as well, mate. It's all about the equipment. You know what race car drivers are like. They get right into it, so yeah, it should be good.
Highly competitive. We've had a range of great star drivers over the course of this series so far. Let's take a look at the track for tonight. Round 8 at Silverstone. It is the British Grand Prix venue. The layout is the current Formula 1 layout that's been in place for the last 10 years, 5.89 Ks, 18 turns, and of course Lewis Hamilton's been the dominator there in Formula 1 in Mercedes over the last 5 or 6 years. Let's take a look at the highlights of last week's round. Audi touring cars at Oran Park, but it was the series points leader Harley Haber from the front row of the grid that led us away in the first race on the run down to turn 1. And as usual, there was some chaos and carnage.
Turn 1 and turn 2, that little section was always really tough to get those cars in there.
This was bad. Brett Holdsworth was having a good night up until then, but it all turned to junk when he crashed at the pit lane entry. Mike Sinclair doing some rally bashing there to get out of the way of the fast cars coming through with Garth Tander, but Harley Haber in the Kumho tyre car, series points leader, absolutely streeted the field once again to pick up the win in race 1. Race 2, reverse top 20, so we flipped it all around, and our guest driver Josh Files from the UK went to the front of the field and he was really pacey. We sent 40 plus cars into turn 1. I think we got about 35 and a half out the other side.
Yeah, it's exciting and it's a great little track. I mean, we knew it was going to be entertaining, and it didn't disappoint, did it?
No, and there was a bit of contact here. Josh Files with Will Brown, the reigning car sales TCR Australia Series champ, who was having a pretty good night, otherwise ended up off the road. This is important. This is Haber working his way through the field. A little bit of contact with Ben McMallen sent him off the road. He's been pinged, Harley Haber, 10 series points coming into tonight. George Medicki was in it, Stephen Johnson was in the action, and it didn't finish at that corner because it flowed into the next couple of corners with Garth Tander ending up getting involved. Johnson sideways, Tander off the road. I think Garth ended up at the hot dog stand here at one stage. He was off the road at the next corner as well.
Yeah, there was plenty of action going on, and that's the great thing about this series. There's been lots to talk about, and this little bit of action right here it looked pretty average, but yeah, that's what we got, I guess.
Yeah, Braden Wilmington was involved in that one, but Lachlan Manif, the young wildcard driver, got home to win the reverse grid race last week in the last round of the series at Oran Park. But tonight it's all about the open wheeler cars. Formula 3 Dallaras at Silverstone on the British Grand Prix circuit. You better get yourself ready because qualifying's underway. You need to get bolted into the sim. In the meantime though, before we get to qualifying, here's a message from our friends at Car Sales.
Woo! This is how I'd sell a car. Proper marketing. Oh, put effort into your photos. Value your car appropriately. Like $500, I don't know, take it. I hate it. It's got beautiful signalers. You can put CDs in there. The right pedal goes all the way down, and it's got, it's a gear shift, and it's a stick shift. Sold. Wait, shouldn't this be in the car?
Great to have you with us for round 8 of the Car Sales ARG eSport Cup. I'm Aaron Noonan. Matt Nolte joins me in commentary. Nolts, welcome back to you to join us for this 8th round of the series from Silverstone with the Formula 3 cars on track now for Astron Tech qualifying, and it is tightly contested. There are a bunch of young drivers who've been fast in practice before this session, and they are at the front again so far.
Yeah, it's good to be back, Noons. Good to be back for what will be a great night of action here at Silverstone. And just over 40 cars here tonight. We've just seen in practice a few moments ago. Now we go into Astron Tech qualifying, like you said, tightly contested, but finding track space is going to be critical. And we have about 12 and a half minutes to go already.
And we're having a look here at the Ned driver. 770 is the number to remember. Andre Heimgartner is at the wheel of this Ned car. Of course, normally he's a Ned Mustang driver, but he jumps into a Formula 3 car as our star driver this evening for round 8 of the series. And he has raced a Formula 3 car. Oh, and a one-off for him. Let's see how he goes with the regulars. So far, so good. He is position 6 at the moment, with just under 12 minutes left to go in qualifying. A little bit of an update too. There's been a bunch of penalties since the last round, since we last spoke to you from Oran Park. Point penalties for Ash Sutton with 10 points docked. Stephen Johnson was docked 5. Tony D'Alberto, who's not in the field tonight, was docked 5. Cam Mason 10. Tim McReynolds 5. Nathan Morecambe 10. And Harley Haber lost 10 points, which we covered in the opener of the show. So a couple of penalties there before we got into it tonight, Matt. And now it's a case of putting down that time. Race 1 will have a compulsory pit stop for fuel. Race 2 will be our regular top 20 inversion of the field. So it's all about nailing qualifying here and getting yourself up the front. And it's no surprise that the fast guys are the guys who have been fast here in this series, no matter what the car is. Harley Haber's fastest so far. Cody Bircher is back with us tonight. He raced at Phillip Island 2 weeks ago and won one of the races there. Jet Johnson on screen here in 17, and it looks like he's got some of his dad's helmets there behind him in the cabinet.
Yeah, what a collection he's got up there, no doubt, on the Gold Coast here tonight, playing in. We saw Cody Bircher, Noon's quickest, earlier in practice tonight. The margin at the moment, nearly 2.5 tenths of a second between it. As I say it, Bircher now goes to number 1, and the gap goes back to where it should be, 0.013 of a second, but still 10 minutes to go. I hope someone can knock Cody Bircher off. We love him, but we'd love to see someone else up there tonight.
Yeah, it's Bircher, Haber, Ransley, who of course is second in the series. He's right there with Haber. Jordan Cox P4, Aaron Borg back tonight, one of our 3 wildcard drivers, looking at Jet Johnson in that famous number 17. 17 on an open wheeler that's blue. It's really a Car Sales ARG eSport Cup thing, not a touring car thing or a TCM thing. It's something fresh and new to this series, and the youngster is finding his way as he learns the craft. Ash Sutton jumps up to P3 now. These times are going to tumble, Matt. This is going to be really good.
And such a cool track, 2 Noons, for open wheel competition. Of course, Silverstone goes back to the 40s and early 50s, but we're on a different configuration now. This is one of the 8th different one we've had now since the track, which was an old Air Force field back in World War II. Very fast, lots of great passing opportunities, particularly between turns 5 and 6, that long straight that takes you down through Brooklands and around through the back of the 2 Lovefields there. So this is the newer part of the circuit that was constructed back in 2010. It'll be pretty scary down there if you're on the outside on the first lap.
You can easily fix that, Matt. Don't be on the outside of that
Don't
first
be on the outside.
lap. Hey, Dylan O'Keefe here. We didn't see it before, but we had a report he had a spin on the warm-up lap and then tried to find his way to get some clear road to get rolling again. The young GRM driver, of course, is in TCR this year with the team in Renaults. He drove for Ash Seaward last year in the Alfa Romeos and made that very last minute main game Supercars Championship debut at the Gold Coast 600 when Gary Rogers Motorsport benched Richie Stanaway very late in the piece, and Dylan got the call up to make his main game debut. You see there, they're cutting that corner there at the Woodcote corner, because watch them carve right in there. They are allowed to do that. They're not being docked penalty time for cutting there across that white line as they peel through onto what used to be the pit straight at Silverstone. Of course, it still is for national events, but for the international events such as Formula 1, it has been moved, as you said, to the new layout 10 years ago.
Watching Garth Tander, the J-Mac Racing entry car 75. There's GT.
Oh, there he is.
Working the wheel.
Now, this is the Motum simulator that we've been talking about for the last, 8 weeks. This is what Garth has been racing on. He's 4 doors down from me here at Melbourne Performance Centre in Melbourne, and this thing, it moves. I mean, he's not on it at the moment. He's cruising along, finding himself some clear air and getting himself ready for another hot lap. When he's up on the wheel, this thing ducks and dives. It pulls forward when he hits the brakes. It rocks and rolls as he hits curbs and he gets sideways. I actually took a little moment there in practice earlier this evening to have a look at him at work in this car and on that sim. It is something to really behold. Hopefully we can get a shot up him later on when he's up on the wheel, and you'll see it moving and grooving. It is quite amazing. Have a look at it there, just as he gets going onto the start-finish straight to start this hot lap for the JMX-75 car. It moves all over the place. I'd be giddy just having a go at this.
I just love the way technology has come along in sim racing, particularly in the last 12 months, and more so now probably in the last 3 or 4 months with all the downtime I guess we've all had. I got into it when they had the virtual racing set up when you put the eyes over, and you really couldn't do much more than 30 minutes before you actually started to feel car sick. Maybe it's just the way I was driving, perhaps.
I got a feeling that probably had something to do with it, just quietly, mate. Under
I
7
really
minutes.
do love the way to do this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Under 7 minutes to go now in Astron Tech qualifying. Ricky Capo jumps up to P11 as we have a look here at George Medicki. Man, we'll get a shot of George later on. Serious face from this fellow. Boy, oh boy, he is zoomed in. Have a look. Look at this. He's just cruising down the straight here at the moment, but he's permanently got that look on his face while he's driving on the sim. Ultra, ultra serious, ultra focused. And let's see how he goes in the open wheeler. This is just a little bit different from the Trans Am car that he punted around the streets of Adelaide, a couple of months ago.
He'll stick to the ground a lot better than his Trans Am car. He hasn't put a lap down in this session yet, of which there's just over 6 minutes remaining. Bircher, Haber, Sutton, Ransley and Borg are the top 5. Andre Heimgartner got himself up to 4th there for a moment. He's ahead of Cox, Randall, Martin and O'Keefe, who was 23rd a few moments ago, now finds himself in 10th.
Heimgartner P6, our star driver in the Ned 770. Do you call it 770, 770, 770? What are we doing tonight? How do you want to call it?
I'm used to saying 777, so I'm bound to trip up on it a couple of times. 777 without the 7. That's too much, isn't it?
Yeah, too much. We're right on board here with the young Kiwi, and there's plenty of traffic here for him to contend with. Oh boy, this is really tight, trying to find some clear road to run on. There's cars here, there and everywhere. That's Thomas Randall just up in front, who is P8 at the moment with just over 5 minutes left to go. We've had a bunch of different star drivers competing. I thought for a second there he's going to try to arrow down the inside. This is the run under the overpass down towards Luffield. And this is the section of the circuit that so many will remember. Just there, this is the place where John Cleland had that massive incident back in the day. Remember with Steve Soper, the man's an animal, said JC. Yeah, that was there.
A long time ago now.
Yeah, it is. This is the part of the track. Look for the cut there. A lot of the drivers are cutting across there to use that extra bit of road and tuck in there and cover less bitumen for this long run. It's a little willing here. This is a bit crazy in terms of trying to find some clear road to get some lap time. This is not going to be good for anybody here.
You see Heimgartner's trying to give himself some space for the next lap, but the entire field's trying to catch him at the same time. As they go through Maggots and into Beckett's, this 4-turn complex, which is just frightening to watch. I couldn't imagine what it's like behind the wheel of one of these Dallara chassis cars and onto the famous Hangar Straight.
It's all about the aero, and that's the thing with Formula 3 cars. Under the bridge there on that long run down towards Stowe, they are pumping about 235 kilometres per hour. Ben Bargwanna here is behind the wheel tonight of the Burson Auto Parts car. That shadow behind him is Jason Bargwanna, who is keeping an eye on what's going on. Bargs was driving last week when we had the Audi touring cars at the Oran Park round, and it's Ben back behind the wheel tonight, who sits in 16th spot at the moment in the 117 Burson Auto Parts car. So he's on a 152.29. He is exactly 1 second away. The benchmark time is 151.293, and that is only just slightly faster, Cody Birch's fastest time, than Harley Haber. There's nothing in it between those two. Ash Sutton, Jaden Ransley next, and then another 2 tenths back to Aaron Borg, who sits in P5.
So Bircher holds down that number 1 spot. I was impressed with Ben Bargwanna last time I called with you Noons at the Phillip Island circuit just a fortnight ago. He finds himself 16th position ahead of Hansen. This enormous field of over 40 cars for 2 races here tonight at Silverstone, where we'll flip the top 20 around for the second race. That's going to cause a lot of stress and anxiety for this field.
Well, not
Maybe
really.
for us as well.
Well, probably for us as well, but I'm sure that everyone's going to try to be on their best behaviour. Trying and being are 2 completely different things, as we've learn over the course of the last 7 weeks of this series. You can see here Ben Bargwanna working the wheel, mega concentrated. He's slipped back to 17th on timing. We should point out too, Matt, for anyone who might not have watched this series before, in qualifying, Astron Tech qualifying, when the time expires and the clock goes to 0, that's it. The session's over. If you're on a lap, you're 10 seconds away from the finish line or 20 seconds away from starting another lap or nearly there, all the excuses under the sun won't work. Once the time's gone, the session's gone, your chance to go fast is gone too.
And that's key why you see, look, the spin for Ben Bargwanna. That's coming out of the Luffield section, so he'll bag up the 117 Burson Auto Parts car and get back on with it, but he should make it around and get a lap time in.
Now, here's a guy who should know his way around one of the home UK circuits, Ash Sutton in the Panther Fuel 116. He's third fastest. He's had a bit of a curse when it comes to driving the Formula 3 car. He's been relatively quick, but he's always tended to get involved in drama in the second race. It's always been his bogey race here in this series. He does come in fourth in the points tonight, and he goes to the top, 151.269. That puts him 200ths clear now of Cody Bircher, Haber, Ransley, Borg, Heimgartner, Cox, Randall, Golding, and Martin. That is the top 10. They are separated by 0.83 of a second as we pick up on Robbo. Michael Caruso's got the race boots on, race face on, good to go. The 2003 Australian Formula 3 champion. It's been a long time between drinks for him in an open wheeler in real life, but he's been having a run here in this series the last couple of weeks and coming up to speed. And of course, this is tough stuff as he gets a little bit sideways and ends up on the grass. He's way back in the order at the moment. It's a case of trying to find some clear road, but also trying to find some speed.
32nd position only for the Team Valvoline, GRM number 7. Very similar livery to Ben Bargwanna's car that we saw a few moments ago, and that'll be just enough for his qualifying session with just under 60 seconds to go. So Ash Sutton by 0.02 of a second ahead of Bircher, by 0.04 of a second ahead of Haber, and then a whopping 3/10 back to Jaden Ransley, and Aaron Borg is your top 5.
3:10 sounds whopping, but it sort of really isn't, because the track is nearly 6Ks and it's a lap time that's 1:51. Look at Caruso there cutting that inside run as we talked about at Woodcote. This is up to Copse Corner. Tip it in, use the aero, and then make sure you don't run it too wide out over that bitumen. Time running down, 20 seconds on the clock. Ash Sutton has pole position in Astron Tech qualifying at the moment, 151.269. He pulled out that time right at the very end. Caruso here, wide out in the grass. He's not going to get around and finish off this lap, and that will be it as time is out in Astron Tech qualifying, and the lights go out on Robbo as well.
I think it's
What's
caught him out.
going on here? I think that's caught him out. He was expecting to continue on even though the session was over. But, Matt, it's Ash Sutton who's got the pole.
And a narrow margin once again in this session. So it'll be him and Cody Bircher on the front row for race number 1, the Carsales ARG eSport Cup. Harley Haber and Jaden Ransley on the second row. Aaron Borg and Andre Heimgartner start out of 5 and 6. Jordan Cox and Tom Randall out of 7 and 8. Nathan Hearn and James Golding completing the first 5 rows in the first the Team Valvoline GRM cars.
That's good for Nathan Hearn in the Gulf Western Oil car because he needs to mount a fight back after a really bad round. He'll line up in the 10, just outside John Martin. Let's have a chat to our star driver tonight. He is the Ned driver. Andre Heimgartner, welcome to the Carsales ARG eSport Cup. You look like you're at home. P6, good job.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's a bit of a drafting battle out there, so didn't quite get the lap together. But, yeah, up the front, so we'll see what happens here, see what ways I can stuff us up.
That's very, very negative of you. We want some positivity here. We thought you all were slowing one another down in that session because there were cars going here, there and everywhere, but the tow that you were all providing was enough of a benefit to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly. Ideally, the tow around here is worth probably half a second or something like that. So, yeah, still a little bit to work there, but my teammate Tom and I were trying some stuff, and there's a bit of strategy going on, but yeah, it's good fun. All
right, mate. We'll let you get ready for race 1. All the best.
Thanks. How long is this race?
5 hours.
Well, there you
go. No, 25 minutes on the clock with a compulsory pit stop for fuel.
Okay, well, there you go. Thanks,
just
mate.
Doing my bits to help you out, just part of the race strategy. Let's get ready, Matt, for race 1 of 2. It is round 8 of the Carsales ARG eSport Cup. The Formula 3 cars take to Silverstone. All of the drivers are logging in. You see their cars appear on the screen, and it is Ash Sutton on pole position in the Panther Fuel 116. Cody Birch is in the mix on the front row. Let's get ready to go racing, Matt, at Silverstone.
40 cars plus ready to head down to Abbey for the first time. A 25-minute race. Compulsory stop for fuel in this one. We get underway. Cars already fanning out in the background. They're still pouring around the final turn as the leading group head to turn number 1. They slip into single file for a moment as everybody hustles for position. I'm not going to say too much till they get down into turn number 3. In case you have any incidents, we do have one with several cars off in the background here, Nudes.
Lots of cars off in the background, Matt. There's 4 or 5. Oh, more carnage here on the way down. Oh boy, Jaden Ransley, second in the points. This will sting him. And there are cars going every which way here and there. Tander's involved in 75. That's Ben McMillan in the Michelin car that's ripped a few tyres and wheels off. Up the front, Cody Bircher leads. Now, Harley Haber, the series leader, was fighting for the lead in the first couple of corners, but there he is in the Kumho tyre number 21 car. He's swapped back. He's dropped back to P5, P6 here as he tries to put a move on Dylan O'Keefe to grab 5th spot back. That hurts him, but he is still in front of the man who was second coming into the night, Jaden Ransley, who was involved in that incident. He's back in P13, but it's Bircher with a break. Nathan Hearn has been a flyer. He's up to second from the tail of the top 10. Sutton, the pole man, next. Andre Heimgartner, our star driver's in the mix, and then a gap back to Haber.
Well, I predicted turn 3 would be the incident. It was somewhere between there and turn number 4. We lost at least 7 or 8 cars in the process. Caruso's got himself to 16th position, Tander in 19th, and we still have 23 minutes of racing. That all exploded. There was no calmness about that at all.
No, not one little bit. As Sutton now fighting back down the inside of Hearn on the run towards Stowe, through and peeling around towards Vale, and then Club Corner that brings them back onto the start-finish straight. End of the first lap. Birch has got a break. The young gun from Orange, one of our 3 wildcard drivers. We have a wildcard race the evening before each round of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Top 3 earn their way into the field. Tonight, wildcards are Aaron Borg, Cody Bircher, and Luke King, who is in the field as well. He runs position 10. He's made a great start, but Bircher's clearing away. It's a fight for second as Heimgartner shows the nose to Nathan Hearn. But we've got it settled down now, Matt. That first couple of corners was a bit wild. Field spaced out. Some big movers who've taken advantage of some of that carnage. Will Brown, he's up to 6th. Brett Holdsworth's 9th. Jet Johnson was down the back of the field. He is 16th. He's past half the field.
Brown's teammate Nathan Morecambe back in 13th position. There is the Swill heading down towards the Luffield section of the circuit. Nice to see he corrected his signage in the background as well prior to this race in practice before, brought to his attention by us. But he's on the charge at the moment inside the top 10 with Haber just ahead, O'Keefe in 7th, Tim Brook, Luke King and Brett Holdsworth complete the top 10. It's a 25-minute time race, a compulsory stop for fuel. So we jump in car with Will Brown through Cops, turn number 9 of this Silverstone Grand Prix circuit.
It feels so weird, Matt, saying we've got a Formula 3 race with a compulsory pit stop for fuel. It's not the norm in real racing. Formula 3 is very much sprint race category, no pit stops. It's all about going as fast as you can for a short space of time with a small fuel tank. But we can do this sort of thing in this sort of online virtual racing world, so we can mix it up a bit. We've got a couple of rounds. I think he was. Was he waving at us? Was he waving to a mate? Was he waving to someone who he's trying to pass? I'm not sure what he's doing.
It's a virtual wave then.
Right. That's what it was.
Down through 15 and down into the final set of turns we go. Bircher out to 2 seconds, Noons. We can't afford to let him get too far ahead. He's
too late.
Too
late.
It's happened
He's too
already.
far ahead. Yep, that's going to be hard to reel back in.
But for Sutton, Hearn and Heimgartner, they're covered by just 1 second. There is Hearn, the Gulf Western Oils entry, known for his Trans Am exploits through that very fast turn number 1 at Abbey.
Looking back to Heimgartner, and he's got some company. Harley Haber, series points leader, has caught the lead group. He's got onto the back of the Ned car, and he makes a dive down the inside. Points leader gets the spot, but Heimgartner fights it round the outside. He will hang on, and he will go for it. Remember, he's not fighting for the series. Haber is. He doesn't need to do anything silly here because Andre's here for the night. Look in front. It is willing between Sutton and Hearn, and these two are going to go on with it. Haber and Heimgartner push, push, push. Haber gets the spot.
And he'll wipe his brow, no doubt about it, for Haber, because that could have been interesting for Heimgartner, who was not going to give that up without a fight. We go back to O'Keefe in the 33 as they sweep through Woodcote, turn number 8, and past the old pit building here. at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit and into the very fast Cops turn number 9. We're on top with the 33. You're watching him on the right-hand side. Dylan O'Keefe, a star last year in the TCR Australia Series, and runs himself at the moment inside the top 10 in position 7.
Not much this young guy hasn't done yet in the sport in terms of experiencing cars. Porsche Carrera Cup, TCR, Super 2, little taste of the main game, and of course came up through the Porsche platform of racing from what was the GT3 Cup Challenge category to Carrera Cup. He's in the fight here. He sits P7. There he is, car 33 in the middle of screen. Behind him is Luke King in the 222 car, the fast track comms car. Of course, we've seen Luke unbelievably fast in a range of categories over the years, including Toyota 86 Racing Series. And I tell you what, our wildcard drivers, Matt, all year have generally ended up in the top 10 quite regularly when they come and have a run in the carsales ARG eSport Cup. They're really competitive.
It's good to see. O'Keefe staying with him right now in 7th position. So Holdsworth made up a position now. He's inside the top 10 in 9th. Michael Clementi is 10th. We look back some of the names outside of the top 30. We go back to 41 cars in this field. No wonder we had a bit of action down here at turn 3 and 4. This is where it happened on the first lap. Nobody that we know of yet has pitted. So we check in with Tim Brook in the Garage 1 Morris Finance entry. He sits back in 12th position ahead of Jordan Cox, Nathan Morecambe and Jet Johnson.
And you can see on screen there, Matt, at the moment, that's Tim Brook in perhaps the biggest sim that anyone in this category has got. He's driving at Sydney Motorsport Park. That is a racing car chassis. It's an ex-A1 Grand Prix car that he's behind the wheel of. It's hooked up to a sim, and at the moment, he sits P12 in the Garage 1 Morris Finance entry. In front of him's John Martin. Just behind is Jordan Cox. So 3 drivers who competed last year in the carsales TCR Australia Series, and they're all together here. They all drove a different pile of cars back then. Last year, this year, tonight I should say, they are racing in identical cars. In fact, let's have a chat to Tim Brook. How you travelling here, mate? Your old friend Tony D'Alberto is not in the field tonight. You are well in front of him no matter what happens.
How good's that? Hey, that's a win already. Let's just end it there. Where is old Tony? What's he up to tonight?
Who knows? Who knows? He's not racing tonight. We're not sure. We haven't got to the bottom of this.
Talk about disappointed.
Oh, well, maybe next week. Hey, I was just telling our viewers that you're racing at Sydney Motorsport Park, a sim that we have discussed in previous weeks. It's an ex-A1 GP chassis. Where is this located at SMP? Is this in one of the corporate boxes?
Yeah, it is. So Euros Performance, who owns the sim, they have their own office, essentially above the pit lane garages. So yeah, we're just in there going crazy, causing trouble.
How are you going with this Silverstone circuit? It is quite technical, and a lot of these drivers have been virtually living on their sims during the week, learning it.
Yeah, look, I feel like I'm making progress, but to be honest, the young fellas, they're certainly toweling the old boys up, that's for sure. So, but yeah, I mean, qualified 12th, it's probably one of the best quali positions we've had all series long. So we're happy with that. I've been making a bit of a habit of being fairly fast in practice at times, and no good when it comes to quali. So P12 will hang on to that.
All right, well,
attack here now.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll get out of this because Jordan Cox is stealing that spot from you. Go get it back.
Oh, that's a bit sneaky, isn't it?
Get after it.
Thanks, mate. See you later.
There he is, Tim Brook, the Garage 1 Morris Finance 64 car. Matt, that's what happens. We talk to drivers, they lose spots. It's just a thing. It's how it happens.
You could see the way that lap was starting to fall away from him, how quick Cox reeled him in as we were talking to him there. The man from Oran Park, who'd been right at home last week. I bet he would have raced down his street virtually last week.
Yeah,
just based in the old Narellan Town Centre.
A little different how that all is situated now. We saw Michael Caruso there just peeling back out onto the road after making his compulsory pit stop. It is a CPS for fuel. Michael Clemente in the Worth car. I reckon this is one of the best looking cars in the field. That livery works on the open wheeler, it works on the touring car, and a bit of chat that he's looking at in the future going 2 cars in TCR Australia. He's heading into this year with a Honda Civic Type R, and he's a guy who is going to use the TCR category as a platform to make a name for himself, and that's what it's done last year, and it will do again this year when it fires up in upcoming months.
He was quick to announce that late last year, wasn't he? Acquiring one of the old Honda, wouldn't say old, one of the Honda Civic Type Rs for this year's series. At the moment, he finds himself a bit further down the field than he'd like, but still, plenty of time to play it. We've had several cars come into the pits, including Ransley, Tander, Carroll, Barguana, and Aaron Seaton have all been into the pits in the recent few laps.
That's a case to see how this all plays out. Clemente here is fighting with Jordan Cox in 11th and 12th, and Cox is putting moves on here down the inside. We saw him get a move on Tim Brook. Now he's trying to pick up another spot here, and he's got that done. Nice move through to 11th place as they hook now on the run, under the bridge. And this is a braking area that can really get you sucked in. Let's have a chat to Dylan O'Keefe, who sits in P7 at the moment. You're at the tail of a little pack here with Will Brown, just a second or so down the road. How are you travelling?
Yeah, not going too bad. I mean, my qualifying strategy was very ordinary, so I stuffed that up. That's my fault, but got through the turn 1 carnage, and now trying to settle into a rhythm, just trying to work out when I should pit. So I don't think there's much of an undercut in this car, so I might just hang out and run my fuel right down.
Have you got anyone helping you on the strategy side of things here, or are you just making it up as you go?
Not really, just make it up as you go. I don't know, pit transit time's about 39.5 seconds, so just try and add that on and see where you come out. So, yeah, just all by yourself.
Were you any good in maths at school to be able to add this up?
Well, you get enough time on the straights here to try and add it up. So, yeah, get the phone out.
All right, smart man. Hey, we're going to add someone into the chat here. Will Brown is in front of you on the road. Will's driving from Toowoomba. How you going here, mate? You're having a good night at the office so far?
I'm nervous. Dylan, do you know how much fuel we need?
Yeah, as much as you want, as much as you can fit in.
I don't know. I just got 5 laps to go, and I think I calculated it wrong. I wasn't very smart at school. Did too much motor racing and not enough schoolwork.
And you fly an airplane. God help us.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
Why are you going well this weekend, Will? We saw you have a decent run at Oran Park. You've had a couple of rounds that were pretty ordinary. What have you clicked with this week?
Oh, I'm just trying really hard to catch Andre Heimgartner in front of me and take him out. But no, I'm only joking. I don't know, just enjoying this car. The F3 is fairly nice to drive, but yeah, I'm not sure. I missed. Oh God, I nearly got the commentator's curse. I can't remember what I was talking about now.
It's all right. We do the same as well. We do it all the time.
I'm lost. I can't do 2 things at once.
All right, we'll leave you. Just concentrate on this race driving thing, huh?
Thank you. See ya.
There he is, Will Brown, the reigning carsales TCR Australia Series champ. Of course, he's signed up with Penrite Racing and Erebus for the Supercar Enduros to co-drive with David Reynolds, and he's having a solid run. He sits in P6 at the moment in that number 1 Rondo HMO customer racing machine, trying to find some time to get to the back of Andre Heimgartner and stay away from Dylan O'Keefe. Matt, Cody Bircher leads. The margin's 2.7 seconds back to Ash Sutton as we pick up here on Jet Johnson, who is still running in the mid-pack, 15th. He got his way through the drama in the opening laps, and he has stayed there. This is an impressive performance.
And he's the last car that hasn't pitted yet too, Noons. We're looking at those numbers. So O'Keefe mentioned it was 39 seconds to transit the lane. The margin from 1st to 16th is 51 seconds at the moment. As we hear Harley Habers come into the pit, he is in the pit along with O'Keefe and Brett Holdsworth on this lap.
Let's have a chat to young Jet. How are you travelling there, mate?
Yeah, not bad.
Where's Dad? I can't see him on your camera. I'm sure he's lurking somewhere nearby.
He's in the other room on my computer, spotting for me.
Have you ordered him to stay out of this room here? Is he too distracting?
Nah, it's good having him. Oh, it's good having him on the cameras. You know, for me, telling me when there's people around me.
How are you going with the open wheeler thing with no roof? It's a bit different from the Excel.
Yeah, it's a bit.
I'll let you get your way through there. That's a tricky corner there to look after. You're having fun with this. This is good stuff to have you in our series.
Yeah, it's awesome fun doing this.
This beats school.
Oh, 100%.
Hey, we'll let you get back to it. You're going well, mate. Keep pressing on.
Yeah, thank you.
There he is, Jet Johnson. Oh, mate, he's the real deal, Jet Johnson. 3rd generation. His race car's blue. His virtual race car's blue. His grandpa's race car was blue. His Sim's blue. It's a blue evening.
Nothing wrong with the colour, Noons. The Bircher, 3 seconds back to Sutton now, but yet to pit. So Haber and O'Keefe have pitted to come out in 10th and 11th position. Johnson with the 27 on the outside down at Luffield 1. So when's Bircher going to pit? So we know Will Brown's definitely going to run out of fuel soon. He gave himself away, didn't he? He'd have 3 laps of fuel left now, so he's definitely not going to make it without his stop.
And we also learn a lesson tonight as Ash Sutton now peels off. Will Brown flies planes, and as Dylan O'Keefe referred to, I'd be a bit worried about his fuel consumption calculations, but it's a busy pit lane now as the chasers of Cody Bircher, all in a pack, dive into the lane. Sutton, Hearn, Heimgartner, Brown, John Martin is in as well. It's a case now of top up the juice and go back out there and see what they can do.
If you're wondering why Heimgartner's carrying 770, Declan Fraser's running the 777 tonight. He's down the field outside the top 30. We're in car now with the Ned Whiskey entries. He performs his pit stop with just under 10 minutes remaining. The VHT leaderboard still with Bircher, King, Sutton, Hearn and Heimgartner as he releases himself from the pits and will rejoin the circuit. We now get to that spicy part of race number 1 here today.
And we have seen drivers in this series, Matt, have problems with fuel previously. There's Harley Haber going through as Heimgartner rejoins. There's Dylan O'Keefe. We've seen some drivers, Chelsea Angelo last week in the Audi touring car, ran out of fuel at the last corner while running third. She managed to roll to the line and got position 5. So you've got to get the fuel right, otherwise you're in big, big trouble. 9 minutes just under on the clock now, and it's a case of, 3 drivers yet to make a stop. Bircher, King and Jet Johnson are the 3 drivers in the field. Bircher and King run 1-2. And it's a case now of the best of the stoppers is Nathan Hearn in the 29 car, the Gulf Western Oil car, in front of Ash Sutton, Harley Haber, Heimgartner, O'Keefe, Brown and Cox, with John Martin now rounding out the top 10.
Here's Tander, car 75, running back in 15th behind Tim Brook. Just a whisker ahead now. Down through Luffield we go. So just like that, 8.5 minutes remain in race number 1. Of course, race 2 comes up. It's a flat-out 15-minute race with the top 20 inverted. For that race, it follows this one here tonight from Silverstone. We're right on top of the roll bar with Garth Tander heading down towards Cops. Turn number 9 at the Silverstone Grand Prix course.
And he is hunting Tim Brook for position 13. Not long to go in this one, as Matt said. I love that we take this reverse 20 because it mixes it up, but the fast guys still tend to find their way up through the order and into the positions that really, really matter as they're coming in behind a lap car here. Barton Moore is at the wheel of car 27. He's 28th in the race and a lap off the money. Tim Macro just up in front there, and he is also back in the pack after earlier dramas, and he's having some more there as well. And that was Garth Tander with a wheel off there and a car spinning. Boy, oh boy, bit of drama there just when we thought this had settled down.
While Bircher and Hearn have also pitted. I'm just trying to pick up where they'll be in the scheme of things. They should be safe at the front. Here's Tim Brook, who'll pick up a couple of spots here. 17th position on your VHT leaderboard. So everybody's pitted now. We take a look at the total replay of what happened coming through the very quick Stowe corner.
Oh, and there was a tag there. Brook got a little tag from Tander after the macro spin, and Tim Brook manages to get himself going again. He's dropped to 17th place now, just in front of Ben Bargwana and behind Nick Carroll, as we have a look at that Garage 1 Morris Finance machine.
It's just tweaked that rear wing, hasn't it, as well, on the 64. Meantime, here's Heimgartner through turn number 1. So it settles in with Bircher. Hearn, who's been the big mover in this one, inside the top 10, that is. He's 4.7 seconds behind Bircher. Sutton runs in third. Harley Haber is next. Andre Heimgartner is just behind, looking from the rear of the number 21 machine. We go back to O'Keefe in 6th, Will Brown 7th, Luke King, Jordan Cox, and John Martin is your top 10.
And just over 6 minutes to go, Matt. Harley Haber is in a strong position here. His next best real title contender that's in front of him, Nathan Hearn, comes into tonight 5th in the series on 332 points. Harley has 388. Remember that Heimgartner there, he's not in the title fight. He's our star driver tonight. We've been having a range of guest drivers join us in the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Some interesting names being floated for the remaining 2 rounds of the series. We tend to, in the second race, Matt, reveal the location and the cars for next week's round, which we will do a bit later on in the evening. So make sure you keep tuning in to find out what next week will bring. Counting down here, though, 5.5 minutes on the clock. Young Cody Bircher leads by a comfortable 5 seconds. He's done to them in this race what he did to them last time he ran in the series at Phillip Island, where he really showed them a clean pair of heels.
so cool to see racing at Oran Park last week. I'm so glad they scanned that track so well.
It was good, wasn't it? Really enjoyed that. Yeah, it took me way back to not a track that was one that I went to regularly. It wasn't my local in a different state, but this guy, Michael Caruso, did plenty of laps around there as a young bloke, and of course, I reckon his dad Mick would have covered plenty of miles in sports sedan racing as well. He's having a tough night at the office. He's 24th at the moment, but he's done better than a few of them because all wheels are remaining on his car.
So far, with 4.5 minutes to go.
Don't put that commentary curse on, Matthew.
No, it tends to follow me. Doesn't matter if it's at a real racetrack or in the wardrobe here in Murray Bridge in South Australia. We look at Caruso, former Formula 3 champion of Australia back in 03, brings the Team Valvoline GRM car past the old pit building in the closing minutes of this race. Doesn't look like anybody's going to catch Cody Bircher here. He continues to put that margin out to 5.2 seconds now.
Hey, Carus, it's Aaron Noonan and Matt Nolte, mate. How are those race boots working for you tonight? That's the big question we want to know the answer to.
Well, boys, I've moved up a few spots, but it's definitely been chaotic where I am. That's for sure. There was cars going everywhere in those first few corners.
Did we see you? Were you the guy off the road in among all of those cars?
No, I actually cold trickled it. Went
through the smoke.
Yeah, no, it seemed to work.
Well done. You got away with it.
Mate, I would never do that in my real race car. I can tell you that right now. But in the virtual world, you can risk it.
You can risk it for the biscuit. We're not long to go here. 3.5 minutes left on the clock. Jet Johnson is your next mission. And at the pace you've got and the pace he's got, there's a chance you could get to him here.
Oh, young Jet. Yeah, no worries, mate. Kind of little fella. Let's get it done.
Be nice to the young bloke.
Look, plenty of racing pedigree there, mate. I'm sure he's pretty good.
We'll let you get back to it. Good to see you again.
Thanks, boys.
There he is, Michael Caruso at the wheel of the number 7 Valvoline car. Yes, Matthew?
He's got to find 6 seconds. Jet Johnson's last lap was 2:01.1. Caruso's was 1:54.9.
I reckon Jet might have had a bit of a drama on that one because his best laps are 54. We're looking here, though. Fight for third, Sutton and Haber. Remember, Harley Haber, I tell you what, every time I say he's the series leader, he's not going to do anything silly, he just goes for it. He's not really taking it too steady. He really does fight for every position. Ash Sutton is in the title fight too. He's 4th, the former British Touring Car champion, but they're going to go at it for this run home. Nathan Hearn's just in front in the Gulf Western Oil car. 5.7 seconds the margin to Cody Bircher as they run down the back straight to Stowe, but it is really a case of the young gun from Orange who's in control. I'm not convinced that the podium positions are all locked away just yet.
No, definitely not. Coming down towards the final set of turns, Ash Sutton, who runs in 3rd position, with our race leader really starting to clear out. It's going to put Reece Gould and Michael Clement on the front row for the top 20 race, which follows this. At this particular point, those guys, a bit of a margin back to the guys around them right now, including Jason Gomersall and Jonathan Bykoff, who are back in 21st and 22nd. Now it's on their way down into turn 3 and 4, Noons.
Yeah, Sutton got a really good run. Hearn made a bit of a meal on the exit of Cops, and now the Panafield's car's down, and he's got contact. Hit from behind, up and over. Nasty shunt. Oh, boy. Dallara, yep, you're there. We need some bits. We're struggling.
The slowest, biggest crash I've ever seen. It just exploded.
It literally did. And Haber, he's had his fair share of incidents. Total replay here. It was a case of Hearn was slow there. He was really struggling to get it pulled up. Inside line, Sutton to the outside. And there's a little bit of a bobble here because Sutton is side by side. He's up over the curb. He holds the inside for the next line. Hearn switches back to try to get a run. He clips Sutton and then gets, well, absolutely sent by Haber. And, oh, boy, that's bad.
Damage to that car, both corners. He's out of business. Not surprisingly.
Yes. Out of business is one way to describe it, mate.
Just trying to get over how big that was.
You're right. That's the line of the night. It's the biggest, slowest crash you've ever seen.
Just incredible. So Ash Sutton can breathe now, but he's going to have to settle for second with 6.4 seconds to Cody Bircher. Inside the final minute, heading down the hanger straight here at Silverstone. It's been a wild race, and that 25 minutes has just zipped on by.
It has. Let's have a quick chat to Nathan Hearn. That's the most spectacular, slow, big crash we've ever seen, my friend. What on earth happened there?
Don't know, to be honest. So I ran a bit of a different strategy to the other two. I was on the old tyres, and yeah, I was struggling to hold on to it, and then I was just can't win a trick in this championship at the moment. So yeah, I know it's that's how it goes, unfortunately, in the simulator. But yeah, look, we'll see what happens, and yeah, we'll see what happens in the next race.
All right, mate. We'll see you for race 2. We'll have to fight you through from the back of the field.
Yeah, beautiful, awesome, thank you.
I was going to say that Nathan Hearns had the wheels fall off his title campaign, but that would be taking it to the extreme. Oh, here's an emerging story, Matthew. Look at this. Dylan O'Keefe, car 33, slow. I'm hearing juice, problem, not enough. He's in big trouble.
And he started to slow coming down the old pit straight there. So we're riding car with him. He's losing positions as we speak, as the race is pretty much coming to an end now. Is he going to make it to the finish line? He's on his way down the hangar straight now.
Dylan O'Keefe struggling to try to get to the line, sits in 10th. I tell you what, the guy who's not struggling is Cody Bircher. Andre Heimgartner has really stood up tonight. Plenty of sim racing for him lately with the supercars, and now he steps into the F3 car. That's Nathan Morecambe. I wonder if he's got the same problem as Dylan O'Keefe. I'm hearing he has, and there's not enough fuel in the tank. There's enough fuel at the moment for Heimgartner. Hey, that's Haber behind there, sitting P4 as we're working this final lap.
So Heimgartner finds himself in a top 3 position now. Haber just behind here in 4th, and Will Brown with his teammate running out of fuel. Jet Johnson in car 17 is 20th.
Yep.
And is looking
Pole.
likely here to be on pole. I said looking likely though.
And remember that Michael Caruso's next car in the line in 21st place. But this guy, Cody Bircher, the Tony Lay Motor Group entry, car 36. But he wins. Well done. Race 1 steps in as a wild card. Ash Sutton fought off and got through that drama late in the race. He gets second. Andre Heimgartner sits in P3 as this fight. Look at this one. This is going all the way to the line. Luke King, John Martin run to the final turn to bring it on to the pit. Straight contact. Martin goes around. King makes it across the line in 7th. And then, oh no, Martin gets wiped out on the way through. I think that might have been Jaden Ransley who was trying to fly his way through quite literally. As here's Dylan O'Keefe way back from where he would be. He's not going to make it.
No,
He's
I'm not
out.
gonna make it.
Oh,
No.
Dylan, what's going on here,
Hey,
mate?
Ben's
The
going to
maps.
push me. Ben's going to push me. Oh.
You're going to push it. What's going
Maths
on
was
here?
wrong, actually. I underestimated by a lap. So that was due to... Oop, I think I got it across the line, though.
You did. You made it. P13.
Oh, yeah, what a disaster, though. I only had to add, like, an extra 1 litre or 0.5, so pretty disappointing. I mean, forgot to add an extra lap after the time goes down. So anyway, it is what it is.
Oh, well, all right. We'll see you for race
Bit of
2. You're
fun.
not the only one. Nick Carroll's slowing at the moment.
And
he's not going to
in
make it
20th.
either. Caruso will get the 20th, and Caruso will get the pole. He'll be on the front row with Jet Johnson for race 2 later on.
The shoes are lucky. He's going to get 20th, and that's good enough for pole for the reverse grid race for Caruso. Nick Carroll, who dribbled his way, will start from 21st position. Even after the checkered flag, Noons, it was still on for the minor positions.
Oh, boy, talk about drama. Hey, let's have a chat to our race winner, Cody Bircher, our wild card tonight. Mate, well done a couple of weeks ago. You really came in and made your mark. You've done it again. 6.2 seconds the margin. Nice job. Not sure if we've got Cody there. I thought we'd give him a bit of
I'm here.
There he is. Hello, mate. Well done. 6.2 seconds. You've gelled again with this F3 car. Well done. I was just saying before that you nailed it at Phillip Island a couple of weeks ago, and you've done it again.
Yeah, thank you. Nah, that was fun. The car seemed to go off a lot in that one, but I'm still obviously happy to get the win and everything. But yeah, it's good fun. It's probably going to be a lot more difficult from 20th now, but we'll see how we go.
Hey, tell me, you're a young lad from Orange. I guess the weather this time of year is getting chilly. What's the temperature in Orange tonight? I'm sure it's not many at all.
Yeah, it's pretty cold out here. I think it was last time I checked. I think it was 8 degrees, 6 to 8 degrees. I think
that's balmy. You can get your shorts out for that weather.
yeah, go outside for a bit.
Hey, you got to keep out of the drama. We won't tell you that there was plenty of accidents in the first race in the middle of the pack. Okay.
Thank you.
We're just trying to make you feel better about yourself. Go and get ready for this reverse grid race. We look forward to seeing how many cars you can work your way through.
No worries, thank you.
There he is, young gun Cody Bircher, Matt. He's really impressive. He's made a mark, but now he has to start from 20th and try to get himself to position 1 in a shorter race. It's only 15 minutes, this second race.
Let's hope they can survive that turn 2, turn 3 shenanigans. 6.2 seconds, his victory over Ash Sutton, but back another 11 seconds back to Andre Heimgartner, Harley Haber 4th, Will Brown, Jordan Cox, John Martin, Jaden Ransley, who was caught up in the first corner. It's a case of who wasn't caught up in the first corner shenanigans. Garth Tander inside the top 10. Good result for the JMEC Racing team. And Tim Brook completes your top 10 here in race number 1 on the VHT leaderboard.
Ben Barguana, mate, P11. Dylan O'Keefe pushed home to P12 from Aaron Seaton. Then Luke King, who was in that wreck with at the end there. Jono Bykoff, we didn't really see Jono, but he got to 15th. Reece Gould, Jason Gomersall, Brett Holdsworth, Jet Johnson, Michael Caruso. That is your 20 for the first race tonight, and that will be the reverse order for the top 20 on the grid for race 2. That's coming up very soon for round 8 of the Car Sales ARG eSport Cup. But a driver that we spoke to earlier that's had some bad luck tonight is Dylan O'Keefe. Let's take a look and a chat with the young TCR star.
Last year in the inaugural season of TCR Australia, it was a fantastic season for myself. In the Alfa Romeo, we had a really successful season and really enjoyed the racing, you know. New category, new car for myself with the front wheel drive, and yeah, we were pretty speedy and we're looking in title contention up and towards the end, and yeah, the racing was fun, close, the car was really fast, and obviously the Alfa was a good package. And then now transitioning to this year, 2020 with GRM in the Renault TCR car. It's been good, but obviously we haven't done much racing yet, so there's still a lot of unknown for myself in this car and getting the performance out of it. However, we've done a couple of test days at the start of the season, so I've begun to get an understanding for the car, and it was actually quite good at tracks like Sandown, the tracks where the Alfa wasn't quite competitive last year. So I think GRM have definitely made some inroads with the Renault TCR car, and I'm looking forward to getting the remainder of this season started and hopefully having a good crack at the championship as well. Some of the key differences between the Alfa Romeo and the Renault TCR car would be the way you change gears is one of the main ones. So the Alfa had paddle shift, which was pretty easy on the driver, and it automatically blipped the throttle, so on downshifts it would match the RPM and obviously give you the right downshift when you needed it. And this year in the Renault, it's a sequential shifter, much like what we see in the V8 supercars, and there's no auto blip mechanism on that within the car, so the driver has to flip the throttle manually, which I think it's the only car in the field that you can do that. So I think the added benefit with that is in qualifying, you can get down the gears a lot quicker, so there's no limit with the ECU telling you when you can change gears. Where the Renault, that's why sometimes we have some reliability issues, because we push the boundaries on downshifts with the engine, RPM, so that's one of the main ones. And also, just one of the main feelings I've felt from the driver's seat is that this car tends to like the bit more slower, not so high speed tracks, like Sandown and Winton, where the Alfa really enjoyed the high speed flowing circuits like Phillip Island, Tailem Bend. The car would give you lots of good feedback at those style of circuits. But with the Renault, I think we've got to look to get better qualifying speed. That's where the Alfa was really strong for myself. However, this car in races seems to be very quick, so that's why it was a shame at the Grand Prix we didn't get to be racing. Moff and I both qualified inside the top 10, but we would have been looking to be a lot quicker during the races. The Car Sales ARG eSport Cup has been a great experience so far for me this season. I mean, it's been great to be competitive in some aspect as well. Obviously, we're not racing in real life at the moment, so as a driver, you still want to be competitive in some aspects. So really enjoying that point of view, and also changing up between open wheelers and the TCR car. So might actually have to get in touch with Gary and Barry to have a go at the S5000 at some stage.
Oh, hello there. I'm Jean-Michel Courtois, director of the Total Engine Oil Research Center. And you're here to discover our secrets, aren't you? Well, follow me. Let me show you what we do here. Ladies, gentlemen, ready? Let's push Total Quartz engine oil to its limits under the extreme conditions of motorsports. Amazing performance. Good job, team. The track is our lab. Total Quartz.
This is how I'd sell a car. Proper marketing. Oh, put effort into your photos. Value your car appropriately. Like $500, I don't know, take it. I hate it. It's got beautiful signalers. You can put CDs in there. The right pedal goes all the way down. And it's got, it's a gear shift. And it's a stick shift. Sold. Wait, shouldn't this be in the car?
Great to have you with us wherever you're watching round 8 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Andre Heimgartner on screen there, our star driver tonight, and he's had a good start, Matthew. Finished in the top 3 for race 1. We'll go from the tail of the top 20 because we reversed the field for this second race. It's a shorter race, 15 minutes, no compulsory stop. Chatting to some of the drivers in the break, lots that were either out of fuel or just about to run out of fuel. Some of them ran it way too fine. Andre, how was your fuel tank at the end of that race?
It was actually okay. We did the numbers before, and I think I had about a lap spare, so not too bad, luckily. But yeah, it was a little bit worrying. We always put a little bit more in, just to be sure on that.
Have you got your phone there? Do you have Dallara's number on speed dial for spare parts? Because what we saw in the first race, there was a bit of drama in the mid-pack in the first couple of corners. You might need some help with some spares.
Yeah, well, I think for about half the race, someone in the last section of the track was flipping on the inside for about 5 or 6 minutes. So there's a fair bit of action going on there. And then I saw one of the guys that was just in front of me, 3rd or 4th, went flipping off into that atmosphere again. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of action. But yeah, I think I'm in the right place to sort of catch some of that. But I managed to avoid it last time, so we'll try and do the same.
Good luck, mate. Great to have you with us tonight. There he is, Andre Heimgartner. Let's have a chat to Tom Randall, who's back with us tonight in the number 49 ACT fence hire car. How are you travelling, my friend? Because I'm seeing some circle work from you.
Is that? I thought that was the aim of the game. Now you tell me. Look, good evening, guys. Yeah, that was not my finest hour. I was hoping to make it to 20th, but I was very far off that. So we will be starting 24th. So we'll see what we can do. I'm just gonna absolutely go hammer and tong here, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully I don't spin it again, because like you said, that was probably a bit too much circle work for my liking and for everyone else's liking.
Hey, you're one of the few drivers in this field that have probably raced at the real Silverstone compared to the virtual Silverstone. How does it stack up?
Yeah, I raced in British F3, and I put it on pole actually in front of Lando Norris, so that's my claim to fame there. But it's actually, surprisingly really close. I mean, these tracks on iRacing are all laser scanned, so it really does feel like the real thing. I mean, the car, I wasn't driving the Dallara F3, it was a Tatis F3, but it still feels really close, and no, I'm loving it. I just need to keep the car on the track, and it'd be good to. I've done a little bit more practice, but I think everyone says that, and yeah, it'd be nice to actually go back and race at this track for real. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get back to racing soon, and as a calendar for S5000 can come out soon.
I don't think it's going to be too far away. We're waiting with bated breath. Go and get ready for this second race. Good luck.
Thank you, and I hope everyone at home's enjoying the evening. Cheers.
No doubt. Great to have him with us, Thomas Randall. He's in the number 49 car, starting outside the 20 for this second race. Matt, reverse top 20. So we're going to put Michael Caruso and Jet Johnson to the front of the pack. You can see there a range of different drivers who have performed solidly over the course. That's the original qualifying order where Ash Sutton had taken the pole position and put himself in a decent position for tonight's 2 races for the 8th round. Of course, this is the third last round of the series, Matt. Only 2 to go after this one. And we've got viewers here, there, and everywhere. Some of the comments on socials and the messages that are coming through the social media accounts, people watching from all corners of the world, which is fantastic. All sorts of different time zones watching for this second race and getting ready to look forward to it as we see a range of our drivers getting ready to rumble.
I think George Miedike's got more wrinkles on his head now than last time we saw him on the camera. Top right-hand shot of your screen up the top there. Will Brown just beneath him. Andre Heimgartner at the bottom. Garth Tander in the middle of the screen as well. So 15 minutes flat out to the end. Verse top 20 here at Silverstone. Caruso off the front with those lucky boots in the Valvoline GRM car number 7. And Jet Johnson on the front row. We're underway for the final time here at Silverstone.
On the run, down to Abbey, the first time in this 15-minute timed race. Let's see how they make their way through. It's Michael Caruso leading the way. The Valvoline number 7, Brett Holdsworth, spins in front of the field. Will they miss the TPS group car? Carnage. Cars going left, right and centre. All sorts of drama. Tander's involved. Boy, nasty. Martin's involved. Cars going everywhere. Absolute car park carnage central.
I was about to say there was a Danny Sullivan spin and win moment, but then he got caught up and had all bits and pieces torn off his number 99. So that spreads the field out. Jet Johnson in third position now through the first of the Luffields here. So it's all exploded like we saw in race number 1, but I fear Noon's a lot more carnage than what we saw in the first race.
Fighting with Luke King in the 222, but it's Caruso who's got a lead. He's managing to get away as we get ourselves underway. Shorter race, 15 minutes on the clock. Dylan O'Keefe in the mix there. That fluoro yellow car of Aaron Seaton. Jet Johnson sticks his nose down the inside at Cops Corner, and that means Luke King runs it wide out through the exit bitumen on the other side of the curb. Johnson putting plenty of pressure on here. The young bloke's racing.
It's good for Caruso, already out to 2 seconds. Through Maggots and into Beckett's, turns 12, 13 and 14. You look at the son of Stephen Johnson now.
Oh, big run, huge run.
With the hanger straight here, pulls to the outside. This will be massive if he can get this done on Luke King in that Fastron 222.
He's on the outside here, but it's an aero load corner. Jet backs out of it because he knows that he's got to cover off Dylan O'Keefe, who is just behind. He's a bit wide up over the exit curb as they slow on here to approach Club Corner that brings them back onto the pit straight on this Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. 2.2 seconds, the margin for Michael Caruso. There's Aaron Seaton, Tim Brook right with him as we watch for our title contenders fighting their way through the pack. Harley Haber, the series points leader, sits in P10. I really like this shorter race. This has got everyone really up and about early on. Not much time to fight your way through the order, so you've got to get going straight away.
Past the scene of the crime and what we saw in the first lap of this race. So Caruso, King, Seaton, Brook, Bargwanna, Johnson, O'Keefe, Bircher, Haber and Jason Gomersall is the top 10. You're in car with the 33 of Dylan O'Keefe as he works his way down the Broads Brooklands here in the slipstream of Jet Johnson. Can he get the job done down here before they hit turn number 6? Who's the latest of the late breakers? O'Keefe gets it done. He'll try and cover him off, but Johnson's there. Johnson goes off the circuit now. This is great racing.
And there's a spot being picked up there because Cody Bircher will pounce and move around the outside. Tight on the exit there as they slice their way through Woodcote onto the old pit straight here. Caruso, King, Brooks, Seaton, Bargwanna in P5. Then this fight, Dylan O'Keefe, Cody Bircher, Jet Johnson, Harley Haber. Jason Gomersall sits back in position 10. So we take a look back at this fight. This is 3rd, 4th and 5th. Brooks, Seaton and Bargwanna. It is Ben Bargwanna behind the wheel tonight in the Burson Auto Parts 117 entry. There he is, just over 11 and a half minutes on the clock, and he's in the tow. I love that on this virtual sim racing, when you get a tow, you get a proper tow, and you can use it and really attack at the next corner.
Bargwanna to the inside, should get it done, and just on Seaton. So Bircher's the big mover here, Noons. Up to 7th from 20th. Remember, we flipped around the top 20 from race number 1. We look at Ben Bargwanna. Saw Dad Jason in the background earlier tonight. So the Burson Auto Parts car 117, now moves up into 4th position and sets sail after Tim Brook. Caruso's lead is 2 seconds.
He's hanging on pretty solidly here, Michael Caruso. It's been a rough run for him the last couple of weeks since he was a star driver, and then he's been back for some more in this series. Now it's starting to flow his way. He's got some clear road. He's got no real close pressure behind from Luke King. He can settle into a bit of a rhythm here. But the question is, Cody Bircher, how far can he work his way up the order from starting 20th on the grid? He's P6, 2 laps into the race with time to find. James Golding, miserable night tonight for the Valvoline 31, but he sits in 9th at the moment, so he might be able to salvage something out of a night where race 1 was a disaster.
Identical livery to his S5000 car, which we'll see later this year. He's on the back of Harley Haber, 8th and 9th on the circuit right now. Luke King the quickest, 153.2, but Bircher was 153.4 on the first real flying lap with just over 10 minutes remaining in the second race. Here at Silverstone tonight, across that curve that we talked about during qualifying, and now Golding pulls out to make the move. Can he get it done going into Kopp's turn? He can.
He's narrow on the turn-in, though, so that gives Haber an opportunity to tuck in on the run towards Beckett's as they fly on through. And this is where it's a case of rhythm. You don't want to get the aero wash and drop off the tail. That's what's happened with Haber. Can't quite stick with the Valvoline number 31. Can't wait to see James Golding and the S5000 pack back on track. Hopefully we'll hear some announcements soon in terms of calendars and dates and what's happening with seeing the real big banging open wheelers back on the track. But for the moment, it's a virtual open wheeler race. Golding gets the spot and he pulls away. He's made serious ground already on Harley Haber, who's got Jet Johnson using all the road and then a bit more in trying to pass the series leader.
I just want to hear the sound again, Noons. It feels like forever since we heard these cars in real life at Albert Park. That's 10 weeks ago. I want to hear them again.
Soon. Steady. Patience, my friend. We will get there.
I'm tired of making those sounds on my own.
Speaking of S5000, Braden Wilmington's another of the S5000 drivers who's been competing in the last 8 weeks of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. We're having a look at Braden behind the wheel, of course, son of Gary Wilmington, who we chatted to here on the show last week. He sits in position 14 at the moment, chasing down Nathan Hearn and just in front of Jay Hansen for position, who sits in 15th spot. So been a bit of a baptism of fire for Braden in S5000, of course, moving across from Speedway, open wheeler, high horsepower, comparatively higher downforce, a very big step, but he's adapted really well and just been slowly but surely chipping away. And he's been doing the same here in this online racing world, where he's now a regular mid-pack runner, where probably the earlier rounds he's a bit further back in the pack, but he's been pretty consistent and having a pretty solid run of things. Sits 14th in the series coming into tonight. We have had 63 different drivers compete so far. P14 is a good result.
Yeah, it's good to see the young guy who's been cutting his teeth on the dirt tracks over in Sydney as well. And that fluoro green number 89 runs in 14th, just behind Nathan Hearn and ahead of Jordan Cox. Jade Hansen is just behind him in 16th, and Nathan Morecambe is 17th. With 7. Oh, we've got some drama happening here into the old pit area. That's Garth Tander. So GT, who was just dropped off our screens here, returned to the circuit, but what happened there, Noons, I wonder?
Let's have a look at the Total replay and get to the bottom of your question. Let's find the answer. He's in a fight here with one of the Track Tech cars. And it's car 22. That's Jack Milligan, the young Kiwi. All okay at the moment. He's out wide. He's hit the sand. Wow. Tander is the innocent bystander, and they get together in, well, that's Trans-Tasman relations for you.
Yeah, certainly hasn't simmered, has it? Even during these times. So Tander,
Tander around now, just to finish it off.
Join him. And is that coming into the Maggots and Beckett's complex, perhaps?
Oh, wheel hanging off there
for Brown.
Is that Will Brown in car number 1? Left front's off. Tander's got damage. There's a bunch of them limping around with serious problems. There is the Will Brown car. Left front is hanging off. You know how I said about that phone number for Dallara spare parts? We might need it just now.
Yeah, the hotline's burning, and that's going to be game, set, and match for the HMO customer racing entry. Rondo number 1 of Will Brown, and Tander left front tyre going flat on his JMEC racing entry. Car 75. So the big names falling down the order. They're down in 27th and 28th, but look likely to be out of this race, with Caruso still leading. The gap is less than 0.4 of a second, and here it is between Caruso and King. Car 222 chasing the Team Valvoline GRM car in the closing stages of race number 2.
Last time around, Matt, Luke King took 0.3 of a second away. He's chasing Caruso for the slipstream on the run down the Hanger Straight. Stowe corner coming up, left-hander through Vale. King shows the nose. We've still got time for this race to really come alive. 5 minutes, well, just over 5.5 minutes to go. Caruso's going to have to hang on here. 2.1 second lead is now down to 0.3 of a second. And King, who is one of our wildcard drivers tonight, we already seen a win for a wildcard earlier on with Cody Bircher. By the way, Bircher sits fourth. His fastest lap of the race is in the 51s. He's faster than these guys, coming on strong. And King goes round the outside to take the lead. Great move.
Fantastic move. Covers Caruso off. Now Caruso with the work to do as they head on to that long straight between turns 5 and 6. So, King to the lead. Pressured in for a long time in this race and now leads with just under 5 minutes remaining. You can see a couple of more cars starting to close in here. That's Brooke, Bircher and Bargwanna, 3rd, 4th and 5th on the circuit.
Bircher has time. He's got pace, Matt. He's in the back of screen there in the blue, white and yellow entry. Car number 36. He's in the game here. He's going to catch this pack. He will be a contender for the win from 20th on the grid. He will definitely get to them. There is no doubt about it. We're right on board with Tim Brooke in 3rd place. The run up through Cops Corner. Love this corner. This is good stuff. Out wide there. Use that exit curve. And then the run towards Beckett's that sets up that run onto the Hanger Straight. 4 minutes 20. Doesn't sound like much, but it's plenty of time. The rate that Birch is pulling time for the top 3, he will be on the gearbox of this car, car 64, very, very quickly.
The only car in the 51s, Noons. In fact, a 51.52 is the quickest lap of the race. He went 51.7 on the previous lap. The staying car with Tim Brooke, who's high above the pits at Sydney Motorsport Park tonight. His Garage 1 Morris Finance entry. Across the curb down here at Stowe, turn 15. 2 turns remaining. It's a left and a right combination. Brooke into Caruso and gets him. He hits the back of the Team Valvoline car. Did Bircher get the back of him as well? Bircher might have damage to his entry.
Oh boy, just when you thought it was done, Bircher, yep, that's the big question for me. There is damage for Tim Brooke there, but is there damage for our race 1 winner? I think he might have escaped okay. Let's have a look on the Total replay. Just what happened here. Definitely easy to see what happened in terms of the contact between Caruso and Tim Brooke as they fired it on through the right-hander at Stowe and they led up towards this next left-hander. It's pretty straightforward here what's unfolded, but it's a case of what happened afterwards. Yeah, bang, there's the contact. Round goes Caruso.
Wow.
Oh, a little contact. I think Birch is going to get away with that.
And it was Bargwanna was a big winner.
Yeah, Bargwanna's picked up 2nd spot out of all of this. And 3 minutes on the clock.
Put Tim Brooke down into 6th position. So just like that, Caruso drops down the order into 8th position. We stay with Dylan O'Keefe for the moment. He runs in 3rd position. It's a game changer here. Luke King out by 3.5 seconds to Ben Bargwanna, who runs 2nd. O'Keefe is next. There he is in car 33 on their way down the Cops. Far from done. 2.5 minutes remaining here.
I hope Dylan's got enough juice in the tank this time around. He ran out in the first race, if you didn't see it. He was pushed over the line by Ben McMillan to grab 13th place. In the reverse grid race, he started, I think it was 7th from memory or 8th, and he's managed to work his way through to sit in P3, but it's Cody Bircher who is behind him. I reckon that contact before, that's ended the chances for Bircher to get to the win, but he could still get to the podium.
6 seconds if he wants to win the race. And we're hearing Tim Brooke's going to get a 30-second penalty for that incident down at turn 16 at the Vale corner. So when it's not your night, that's going to drop him right down, Noons, maybe just outside the top 20 at the end of this race.
That's going to sting, and there's no time to catch it up as we see Luke King continue to lead. He's now 3.6 seconds clear of Ben Bargwanna. We're hearing from race control that this is likely to be the final lap of this second race in round 8 of the series. We will have to reveal soon where the next round of the series is. We'll get to that soon as we count down towards the run home and the checkered flag that will be ready and waiting for these drivers in just over a minute's time. O'Keefe here in 3rd, not done with yet for 2nd. Ben Bargwanna's had another good night. Remember when he ran the Formula 3 car a couple of weeks ago at Phillip Island, he was really strong. He's done it again here tonight, so he's certainly found his way out of the drama in the mid-pack in this second race and is in a good position to bring it on home. He and O'Keefe are 3 odd seconds now in front of Bircher. They are looking good for the podium. It's just a case of who is standing on which virtual spot.
Yeah, Bircher's 3 seconds behind O'Keefe.
With just under 40 seconds left to go, Matt, and we can reveal for you round 9 next Thursday. We'll stay on board the Formula 3 open wheelers. We are heading to the former home of the San Marino Grand Prix, the Imola circuit. Don't get caught out. It is not in San Marino. It is in Italy, but it did host the San Marino Grand Prix, one of the famous circuits of world motorsport, and that is our venue next week. Looking forward to that one. Should be good.
Oh, I hope our good mate CV Double D is sick for another week. I might get a chance to come and join you again for that one. One of my favourite circuits of all time. It's through the right-hander we go. Bargwanna under siege in what would be the last lap, you'd think, Noons. On their way down into the final set of turns. Luke King, well, he got the lead early in the race and looks good here with 1 turn remaining.
Checker flag is ready and waiting, so it's a double wildcard win. Luke King picks up race 2 on board the 222 Fast Track Comms car. Ben Bargwanna, 2nd place. Dylan O'Keefe, 3rd. Cody Bircher will make it home for 4th from Aaron Seaton, who had a great second race. James Golding's next. Oh, Jet Johnson's had a spin. He was looking good for 7th or 8th. He's going to make it home. He should still be P10 in what has otherwise been a pretty solid night for the young gun in the number 17 car. He defends from Braden Wilmington all the way to the line. He gets 10th. Good job.
Just ahead of Braden Wilmington, who will be 11th, and Nathan Hearn, after having that massive incident in the final race, will be 12th. Caruso, 13th. You've got to feel for that number 7 there tonight, leading the race right up until the closing stages. But Luke King, of 3.3 seconds, gets the job done here in the second race of the carsales eSport Cup here tonight at Silverstone.
We're going to have to slow these wildcards down, Matthew, because they're coming into the series and stealing points and doing good stuff. Hey, let's have a chat to our race 2 winner, Luke King. Wildcard entry. Nothing wild about that, my friend. Well done.
That's it, mate. Well, I think it's a little bit of payback for the first race because Johnny Martin, I think, accidentally ran into us on that final corner and we ended up with a black flag. So it bumped us down the order a little bit, which bumped us up the order for the reverse grid, which kind of worked in our favour.
How about the stress of having to work your way through the qualifying race the night before and getting that top 3? I mean, we obviously don't get to see that here when we're covering this series, but how keenly contested do those races get?
Yeah, they're pretty close. I mean, I race against my mate Aaron Borg there from the 86 series, and I reckon the guys in the wild card have a bit of an advantage because we're all getting a pre-race the night before, and we're ready to go for the main one tonight. So it was pretty cool putting a pass on Caruso tonight.
Yeah, he ended up with a bit of a drama with Tim Brook. Hey, let's add in the guy who finished in P2 here. Ben Bargwanna's on the line. Well done, mate. Great job. You've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, thank you. That's incredible, really. It was a great battle the whole race, but when there was that shunt towards the end, I thought we were on. So it was good.
Hey, I can see your old man floating around in the background there. What's it like when he's looking over your shoulder racing? Can you feel his beady eyes bearing down on you?
Oh, yeah, I can. He tries to annoy me and tell me how to do it, but I try to ignore him as best I can.
Hey, you enjoying the... He can hear you. Be very careful.
That's all right.
You enjoying this stuff, mate? It seems like you've come on strong in the second half of this series.
Oh, yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. It's just so much fun to race, anywhere, anything. Yeah, getting more laps in, I'm starting to get better at this thing, so yeah, it's good fun.
Hey, you've got the racing gloves on there. Do you have the racing boots on as well?
I actually do have the boots on.
Oh, no. You're getting full pro here.
Yeah, I am getting full pro.
Hey, do you want some news in terms of next week?
I
Where
would
we're
love
racing?
that.
We're going to Imola and we're staying in the Formula 3 car. Sound good?
Oh, I love Imola, and that means it's Dad's turn. Okay,
Oh.
might have to kick him out.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, huh? Hey, whichever Bargwanna's behind the wheel, we look forward to seeing whoever's sitting in that chair next week. Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done, mate.
There he is, Ben Bargwanna, Matt, in the Burson Auto Parts car as we recap the VHT race results from race 2, round 8 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Luke King, great job, took the win from Bargwanna and O'Keefe. Cody Bircher from 20th on the grid, our race 1 winner in 4th. Aaron Seaton, James Golding, Michael Clemente, Jordan Cox, Harley Haber, series points leader in 9th. And Jet Johnson, ripping job, Matt, P10.
Yeah, some strong results inside that top 10 and particularly outside there as well. Nathan Hearn recovered to make it inside the top 15 in 12th position with Caruso 13th, Gomersall 14th, Ash Sutton 15th place today with Hanson, Ransley, Randall, Nick Carroll and Nathan Morecambe completing the top 20 in 2 of the wildest races that I've had the pleasure of calling in the past fortnight with you, Noons. Really good racing. Can't wait for Imola next weekend.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. There was plenty of drama there. Hope you've enjoyed watching all the coverage tonight. Round 8 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. We'll see you in a week's time for round 9 when we take the Formula 3 cars to Imola. Good night.